So, Joe,
Yep.
we're a week away from the big event that I know you have been waiting for.
The Paris Olympics?
Not the Paris Olympics.
Oh, what?
Deadpool and Wolverine. We got Hugh Jackman in that old yellow suit for the first time.
Wow.
Oh, everybody is just going nuts.
Are they?
I went and saw Thelma this week. Even at Thelma, there was some like, when they did the Deadpool and Wolverine like turn your phones off thing for Thelma.
Yeah, people loved it.
Oh, people loved it. People
liked it yesterday when I saw Longlegs. They were cracking up.
Oh, God. It was Longlegs. It was Longlegs. It wasn't Thelma. Thelma would. As I was saying that, I was like, was it Thelma? We watched too many movies. It's hard to keep them all straight. It was Longlegs. It was before Longlegs, and people were loving. They were loving Hugh and Ryan doing their shtick in the theater. They love Hugh cursing up a storm. They love Ryan's his little sarcastic little asides on everything. I think people are going to go nuts for this movie.
Are we miserable assholes?
Nope, absolutely not.
Okay, I was
hard no.
This is a safe space.
Hard no.
Just checking.
Hard no. You know how you know that you're not?
No.
Because we're about to in preparation for this episode, we went through and picked our favorite movies of 2024.
Yes, we did.
And our favorite performances, our favorite directors. We'll get to that in the second half of the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. That reminds you, just think about the movies you actually like, and then that will remind you of who you are as a person.
Right.
And you are not a miserable assole.
I suppose not. I'm looking down on my list. This is
you
good
love
stuff.
good cinema.
This is good stuff.
And I'm sure Deadpool and Wolverine will be fun, but let's not pretend that it's not just a part of the massive Marvel cash grab that has a stranglehold in our culture for I don't know, going on almost 2 decades now.
Wow.
Now, I do want to say on the Marvel front, though, because maybe the question right now is that stranglehold loosening? Obviously, they've been on a run of kind of, by their standards, stinkers, both financially and critically lately. But so was Pixar, and then they pulled Inside Out 2 out of thin air, and they're back on top. So my question for you is, obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be huge. I don't know if it does Inside Out 2 numbers. That was just insane what Inside Out 2 did, up to 1.2, 1.3 billion right now worldwide. I think it'll obviously do huge numbers, but there was some bad news out of Avengers, the Avengers campus, just this week.
What?
Which is that so Avengers 5, which is this
what?
Cursed production. That's the one that Jonathan Majors was supposed to be the centerpiece of, right? And then he's not going to be in it anymore, and so now they're sort of scrambling.
Okay.
They still don't have a director attached. Okay. They don't have a director. He was supposed to be Kang.
I don't know. Okay,
yeah, he's Kang. Right, he was Kang in Ant-Man, and then he was going to be the centerpiece of the new sort of narrative.
The new Thanos. Right.
And now they don't know what to do, and people don't even know if Kang is going to be the main character anymore, or the main villain. There's no director attached, and they just fired the latest writer that was working on it. This hasn't been officially Deadline Variety published, but all the blogs are saying that this writer Michael Waldron has exited the project, and the rumors are is that old Kevin Feige is getting very controlling, hyper. He's obviously always sort of been the puppet master, but he's getting very controlling. And the question is this a sign of the end times for Marvel? Is this last days of Kevin Feige? Are they entering is this the Heaven's Gate era of Marvel, where it's just too much ego and not enough efficiency to get the movie made on time and in the right way? Or is Marvel just too big to fail and they'll figure it out, is the question. Because this thing is supposed to start filming in I believe March of next year, and for a May 2026 release. And they don't have a director or a writer, and they don't even, and the story is in turmoil, is all up in the air. What's going to happen here?
Here's an optimistic outcome for Marvel. They were the Tim Duncan Spurs, just consistently box office wise getting it done year after year. Feige is pop in
Feels
this.
Like an insult to Tim Duncan, who's not even one of my favorite players.
No, that's
please
cool.
Continue.
That's cool. Tim Duncan, he probably just was watching La Chimera and has never seen a Marvel movie, but that's the
I bet he loves La Chimera.
He loved it. So they're the Spurs. They had all these championships, and then Then Kawhi got injured and started being a dick, and the team fell apart, and everybody retired, and Pop was standing around with a bunch of nobodies. Everyone's like, you're dead, Pop, you're dead. And then, boom, gets Wembanyama. Changes the course of the franchise.
So who's going to be the Marvel Wembanyama? Well,
I don't know.
This is literally said out loud in the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer that Deadpool calls himself Marvel Jesus. So Ryan Reynolds is positioning himself as
Wembanyama.
But the only problem with that is he doesn't have a lot of versatility within, like, Deadpool has to stay in the Deadpool movies because the whole thing is they are the R-rated alternative to the mainstream ones.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Do you think that what I'm saying is Kevin is Pop and Kevin will live on and he'll have a second act at Marvel?
I think Deadpool and Wolverine is the last gasp of a dying empire.
Okay.
And I think it's going to make its money. It's going to do everything. It is going to be the last truly big successful Marvel movie, and after this, I think they're struggling. I think
so maybe they
really
need a coach replacement, rebuild the whole thing, get Kathleen Kennedy out.
I think
Disney,
Feige's got to get out of there.
Out.
I think Feige's got to get out of there.
Well,
every empire crumbles.
All those
Kevin,
Star Wars
sorry.
TV shows, to talk about Disney properties. I read a report. All those TV shows are performing lackluster, and with every single new Star Wars TV show, the impact it has on Disney Plus subscription is less and less and less. Trouble in paradise over there at Disney. But
well, we'll talk about.
I'm going to put the money on the money and say that Marvel and Star Wars will figure it out. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means for the movies of those properties. That could just mean they make money other ways. All I'm saying is, like, resilient company, normally well run. TBD.
Resilience, one word. I think it's just too big to fail. They're just too big.
That's
to
another
fail,
way to.
You know?
That's another way to phrase it.
So it's the money always wins.
That's what I'm kind of saying, and I don't mean to say that cynically. I just kind of mean there are smart people in Hollywood, and there's a cherished American properties that matter to people. I feel like there's money in their future, but right now it looks grim. Grim.
Well, you know what's not grim, though, is all the movies that we picked for our best of list, which we're going to talk about later on. Man, it is surprisingly a little bit under the radar, but it's been a great year for movies.
Amazing.
And today on Movies Baby, we're going to be celebrating the movies of 2024 that we loved so far, the first half of 2024. We're also going to be reviewing Osgood Perkins' highly anticipated serial killer thriller, Longlegs. Oh, boy, this is going to be a lot of fun. A big old episode coming your way. Joe, are you ready?
You know it, Brett.
Then, Margot, please roll that theme song. Oh, there it is.
Boom. Sounds nice.
Sounds really good this week. I can't get enough movies, baby. I can't get enough movies, baby. But how about you? Do you have it bad, too? Whenever one ends, it's like the death of a friend. I get to wishing that there were 2 more reels. And then a voice cries out, "Move, baby, you're in my seat, and you don't want to mess with who the Philly movie freak."
I can't get enough movies, baby.
Courageous, taking that sip.
I can't get enough movies, baby. Yes, it's true.
Let's come with a gravelly voice this week.
Oh, I've got it bad too.
Got it
It's
bad.
the theme song for True Detective Season 4. Every night of the year, like the moon, I appear at all the hottest movie theaters in town. Cut to black. Roll credits. Whoa, baby, I'm lost in a fog. I need someone to talk to.
Hi.
Look, the Georgia movie dog. The dog.
I can't get enough movies,
I
baby.
can't get enough movies,
I
baby.
can't get enough movies, baby.
Welcome to Movies, Baby, the weekly show where we break down the hottest movie news, review the latest releases, shout out forgotten classics, and prophesy the future of Hollywood. My name is Joe Cilio, a.k.a. the Philly Movie Freak, here with always my partner, Brett Boehm, a.k.a. the Georgia Movie Dog.
Oh, go Dogs. And I know we got a lot to get to today, but I got to take a look at that gosh darn box office. Margot, show me the money. What happened this week? Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
Wow.
So Despicable Me 4 raked in another 44 million. Domestic. It is, I believe, with the worldwide box office, it's up to number 4 total for the year, the 4th biggest movie of the year, and it's still going. It still has international release dates forthcoming. So there's more money going in those Despicable Me 4 coffers. It's not gonna be the biggest movie of the year like I predicted, but right now we do have 3, as we'll see in a second. We do have 3 animated movies in the top 5 for the year, which was
you said 4, right, Brett?
No, I said 3.
3. Okay.
I said
3
was
of the
my
top
prediction.
5.
So we have 3 currently,
Nice.
but we'll see if that holds. We'll look at the yearly numbers in a second here. What I really want to talk about, the big box office story of the week, is that Longlegs indie horror movie from Neon crushed, more than doubled expectations. This is Neon's biggest opening ever, and that was after they just had their biggest opening ever with Immaculate.
They're on fire. Neon is doing everything so well right now across the board, but specifically in horror, they're doing this like grimy, grungy A24 thing.
I love it.
This like nasty little A24 that Neon is kind of popping out, and I really like the direction. And Longlegs is such a good sort of example of what Neon's going for, and I also believe why they're finding success. I thought the movie was successful.
Joe, after one weekend, after its opening weekend, not only their biggest opening ever, this is their 3rd biggest movie of all time after its first weekend, behind Parasite and I, Tonya. Isn't that crazy? It will certainly be their biggest movie ever by the time it's done.
That
its
is
run.
Exciting for them. That's exciting for movies, and people wanted to, everybody always wants to put horror in an early grave and say that the whole run was over, but no, here we go again.
Here we go.
When the horror is marketed appropriately and then the movie is good, horror fans turn up, And this movie was marketed incredibly well.
Yes.
I don't know what town you live in, but let's just talk about like my experience with the movie, whether it was social or billboards or articles or interviews. Like I saw this movie everywhere. People were chattering about it a lot on social. It got the world buzzing, and it turned into $22 million domestic, Brett.
And listen to this. This is where Neon really gets credit, is that they acquired the movie for under $10 million. And then the word is that they spent around in the neighborhood of $10 million on marketing and distribution. $10 million on marketing. And this movie, and I mean, consider, compare that to Fall Guy, like the barrage of just useless, egocentric, not for any audience marketing that we got for Fall Guy. That was at least, probably pushing $100 million marketing budget for Fall Guy. Right. They spent so much money on marketing. Longlegs spends around $10 million, and it's so much more effective because they're precise, they're strategic. I mean, those pull quotes in the trailer, scariest movie in the last 10 years.
Amazing trailer. Like that
best
really
serial
mattered.
Killer movie since Silence of the Lambs. Amazing trailer. The way they just give you a little hints of Nicolas Cage.
That was smart.
I mean,
the way they handled
it.
That, they didn't reveal. They let you know Nicolas Cage was in the movie, but they didn't give you a lot of screenshots of he plays the serial killer Longlegs, who has a very like insane look, and it doesn't look anything like Nicolas Cage. And they sort of kept that element hidden. You knew Nicolas Cage was in the movie. You knew he was going to do, maybe he was doing something crazy kooky, but
you got just
the first time I saw Longlegs, I was like, oh my God, if that's Nicolas Cage, like I really couldn't recognize him for a while. There was like 2 or 3 times in the movie where I was like, oh, there is Nicolas Cage in there. But anyway, from a marketing perspective, they did a really savvy job. They did a good job with Immaculate. They did a better job with Longlegs.
Even better than savvy, I would say, like we saw with the Bike Riders, where they just like they just took that quote out of context to say that their movie was like Goodfellas on motorcycles, which is not what IndieWire said. I think Longlegs is, and I like this in indie movie world because God knows the big mainstream movies have been doing it forever. I feel like they were, because like the big pull quotes were like, scariest movie in the last 10 years, 20 years, scariest movie of the century, this and that. I liked Longlegs. It wasn't the scariest movie of the last 10 or 20 years. Also, like all these comparisons to Silence of the Lambs. they're very surface comparisons. The movie is very, very different from Silence of the Lambs, but I love these those are big headline grabbing pull quotes that really get your attention and get butts in seats. And so who gives a shit if they're accurate? You got to get people in the movie theater. That's number one job. I love indie movies getting a little down and dirty with their marketing, playing the game. I love it. And the results paid off. Longlegs is a movie I liked a lot, and it made a ton of money on a small budget. Good job, Neon. Good job.
Should we transition a little bit into the movie itself?
Now, before we get to the movie,
I'm excited.
I want to talk some shit because I got
okay.
There's another movie this week that came out that did not do very well. Margo, can we see that? Can we see that box office one more time?
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
It was projected for 12 million.
So you're talking about
Fly Me to the Moon. Fly Me to the Moon.
$9 million domestic this weekend.
Now, this is the movie starring Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum, big A-list talent, directed by Greg Berlanti, who primarily has worked in TV, but is a big-time Hollywood power player. He's, responsible for Dawson's Creek, Riverdale, a lot of DC stuff, all the Arrowverse stuff, or at least he's worked on it. So this is like a lot of talent, a lot of A-list talent. It's about the moon landing, and they actually filmed a fake video in case they didn't actually get on the moon so they could use the fake video. So apparently that's true. They just didn't end up using it because we actually landed on the moon. I don't know. I didn't see the movie, and I'm not going to. You know what the budget of this movie was?
No.
I'm about to blow your mind.
I don't want to.
Fly Me to the Moon. What do you think the budget of Fly Me to the Moon was?
I'll say this.
And just to remind you, Longlegs
was $50 million.
Ricky Stinky was 50.
Yep.
I just told
Civil
you
War
Longlegs was
50.
acquired for Longlegs
10.
was 20 million, including marketing and distribution. What do you think? And we know Fall Guy was like 135.
For real.
What do you think Fly Me to the Moon's budget was? And this is an Apple TV produced.
I'm going to say $55 million.
$100 million budget. Fly Me to the Moon had a $100 million budget.
I didn't hear about this movie until I have a movie podcast.
Why?
I didn't know this movie existed until I saw the billboard outside of our work.
Now,
who was it targeting? Maybe we're just completely not part of the marketing plan.
Not at all. Look at the box office. Look at the box office. Nobody came to the movie.
Right.
Projected for 10 million. It doesn't clear 10. It doesn't make double digits.
That's tough.
And now this is where we get back into just the stupidity of streaming first strategies and just sort of just sort of discarding the theatrical release as sort of irrelevant, or is just sort of marketing for the streaming release, because apparently Apple TV's strategy here is that the theatrical run is just to raise the profile of the movie before it launches on VOD on the streaming service. Yep. But give me a fucking break. $100 million budget makes it gets a wide release, makes under 10 million. You are not, I don't care what black magic you do behind the scenes, those numbers you won't show us. You're Apple, you won't feel the loss, but this is a catastrophic loss for a movie. There's no way it gets close to its $100 million budget, even with whatever fucking streaming hijinks you do with the numbers to show to shareholders. There's no way. This was a catastrophe. This movie has no audience. The marketing was dead on arrival, and you spent $100 million on it? Why?
They should have done the Daily Wire thing like that Christian movie last week. They should have done something.
They should have got the Daily Wire to help promote it.
I'm saying they should have done anything.
The Daily Wire will find red meat in there somewhere. They'll find red meat in there.
The 50s, space race. It's all, they can figure all that out.
Speaking of that, Daily Wire movie's still making money too. That showed up. That's still in the top 10 of the box office.
And so
this week.
And Horizon seems to be bringing in some coin, which is nice.
Oh, great! That's great for old Kevy baby. So Longlegs and Neon, the future of cinema. Fly Me to the Moon.
I love Neon.
Fly Me to the Moon, and its $100 million budget is the. I mean, it's not even the past. It's just nothing. It's nothing. Don't do that. Stop making movies like this that are so expensive and have no audience. Stop doing it.
Weird.
Stop doing it. Why was that movie $100 million? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Margo, can we really quickly, since we are talking about 2024 movies, can we look at the yearly box office right now and see where we stand top 10 wise? So this is the first half of the year. Oh my God. Inside Out 2 is closing on 1.4 billion worldwide. That's insane. So Inside Out 2 is by far the highest grossing movie of the year, followed by Dune Part 2, Godzilla, Kong, Kung Fu Panda 4, all of which have ended their theatrical runs. Despicable Me 4 is at 5 right now.
Oh, it's going to
It's at
go. It's
5.
going to be in third maybe by the end of the run. Brett.
It should be in third, second or third, I think. Probably third. I don't know if it catches Dune, because you can see there the foreign revenue is still still sort of catching up, because it's sort of getting this staggered international release. So I think when it gets its like full international release, that's where it'll make up a lot of the money. Yeah, I think probably 3. I don't know if it catches Dune 2. And then Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Why? Bad Boys Ride or Die, baby. Coming in at 7.
I was just going to point to this. Like, that is, it didn't just do well opening weekend and outperform expectations. Bad Boys 4 is on the top 10 movies of the year from a gross perspective.
Yep.
And it made more in foreign markets than it did domestically, meaning that Will Smith brand, it can travel the world, baby, and it's still got clout.
The brand is strong. Is strong.
Good for them. I really like that.
And then we had what else? There was A Quiet Place Day 1. That probably doesn't end the year in the top 10. Garfield movie, Ghostbusters. I think those bottom 3 fall off. But
we're gonna get Bad Boys 5, Brett.
Oh, I mean, we're gonna have to.
It's the
we're gonna have
seventh
to.
most financially successful film this year.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to get Bad Boys 5.
So second half of the year, Deadpool and Wolverine obviously will end the year in the top 10, probably pretty high on that list. Same with Joker 2.
Oh, yeah.
I'm interested to see what Gladiator 2 does.
Mm-hmm.
And then we of course have Moana 2 is scheduled for this year as well, which I think I forgot to mention when I was predicting. So that gives me another shot at my prediction holding true, which is 3 movies in the top 5 box office at the end of the year. 3 animated movies in the top 5 box office at the end of the year. It will be the first time it's ever happened. And it looks like I've been making this prediction for a while now. It looks like Variety finally caught up to us, Joe. Can we see that? Variety? Look at this. Okay, this is from July 11th, and this is Variety's chief film critic, Peter DeBruge, their chief film critic, Joe. Oh, the big brain over at Variety. And he says, with Inside Out 2 and Despicable Me 4 propping up the summer box office, could 2024 be the year of animation? Oh my God, Peter, what a risky prediction. What incredible risk you've taken over there at Variety. Could it be? It is. It's happened. This guy comes in after Despicable Me 4 makes a shit ton of money, following Inside Out 2 making a shit ton of money, and asks, could this be the year of animation? Joe, when did I predict this would be the year for animation making tons of money?
Like 3
you.
weeks ago.
Thank you. I'm coming for your job, Peter. Actually, I like the job I have. You can keep yours. Legacy media is dead. This is the new entertainment media right here, baby. We prophesy the future of Hollywood on movies, baby, and we beat Variety to the punch, and we do it with some conviction and some actual confidence in our opinion. Could 2024 be the year of animation after these 2 giant animated movies saved the box office? I don't know, Peter. Maybe have an extra cup of coffee before you write your articles.
And to add to this silly, petty joke of a grievance, Peter, you're banned from the podcast. You're never coming on.
You're never coming on,
You're
Peter.
banned.
You're never coming on unless it's on your hands and knees, begging for forgiveness.
Yep. Steeler.
Could 2024 be the year of animation?
Could Inside Out 2 do really well at the box office this year? Published July 11th, 2024.
You can trust movies, baby. We get ahead of the game. We're prophesying the future. We are not questioning if the present is the reality or whatever that headline
you're banned.
is. You're banned, Peter. Lifetime ban.
You're never allowed on the show, Peter.
Peter, reach out to us.
No,
we might be able to make something work.
I would love
to have you on the show. It would be an honor. It would be
insanely cool just to hear what your thoughts are. I would love to hear your top 10 of the year so far. Love to talk movies, talk box office anytime. Unfortunately, you're banned because of the petty grievance, but
you are still
that
banned.
sucks. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
I wish you weren't banned, though. It'd be so fun to talk to you. Joe, you are our resident horror expert. You've been doing your horror power rankings all year. I am very, very excited to see where Osgood Perkins' Longlegs ends up in your power rankings.
Thank you.
Joe, tell us about Longlegs.
Longlegs is directed by Osgood Perkins, Oz Perkins, who's Anthony Perkins' son, just for context, and it's of
very
interest.
cool. That's my kind of
it's of interest.
That's my kind of nepo baby.
It's cool, right?
Anthony Perkins' son, that rules.
And he makes horror movies.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, cool, love that. Well, he made his new movie Longlegs. It stars Micah Monroe, who was the woman in It Follows and in Watcher. She's great. And she is, in this movie, she plays the Jodie Foster character. She's the young, up-and-coming, inverted or what do you call that, Brett? Like introverted. Thank you. Introverted FBI agent who's sort of a savant of connecting the dots, and she's brought into this high-profile case to find this serial killer who's leaving mysterious clues, a la the Zodiac Killer. This serial killer's name is Longlegs.
And really quickly, I think you're good so far. I think we don't always stress about this for this movie, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's that.
No, you're good. But I think we should. Let's be careful about spoilers for Longlegs.
Fair enough.
Yes, but you're good so far.
That's like
you're just doing the log line.
A woman is hunting this serial killer, Longlegs.
Because there are some fun spoilers. There's
lots of fun little
twists.
There's lots of fun twists and turns. I'll say up top about this film. I think the film was incredibly hip. It was incredibly crisp in its images, and I thought it was sufficiently creepy and scary. I like part one. He breaks it into 4 parts. Why? Who cares? Act 1 was excellent. I loved it. Act 2, when we get a little deeper into the villain, I loved that as well. And then people don't like Act 3, and you know what? I think that's fair. I think Act 3 perhaps had some weaker elements, but as a whole, this movie, stylish in a not annoying way, like some of the other faux tours, as Brett called them last week. This is sort of like if Ty West was cool and had some ideas left in the tank and a good eye. I really liked Osgood Perkins's frames. I loved Monroe's performance. I feel like the script might do her some disservices at the end, and people complained about her at the end not doing enough or whatever, but I think she just looked amazing on camera. And yes, she's very beautiful, but I mean that he framed her so cool the whole time. She was looking great. Nicolas Cage, this is, I guess, is a spoiler. We already talked about it. He plays Longlegs, the villain.
That's not, we know, everybody knows that.
And he gives a Joker-esque performance in
he's so
heavy makeup.
He's just
a la Tilda in
full speed
Suspiria.
Yeah.
He's sort of unrecognizable, and he gives a scary Joker-esque creepy performance. And there's creepy dolls in this movie, and there's a lot of excellent horror images. It has a great creep quotient, a scare or two that is really effective. And overall, when it comes to going to the movies in the summer and sitting down and seeing the movie this weekend, and it comes out to be such a grimy but also confidently handled kind of piece of pop horror, not to be derogatory, but it is.
Yeah,
it's sort of a stylish max
compliment, baby. That's a compliment.
Turn that up, and it's very, very, very hip is the word for this movie. And I just found it effective, and I left and I said I really liked that movie. That movie was really good.
Yeah, I loved the enthusiasm for horror that Osgood Perkins brought to this movie. You could just feel from the very beginning where he's playing around with, similar to La Chimera, playing around with sort of Super 8, 4:3 ratio footage for memories, and then he does the dream of every director when you expand a widescreen.
He expands the frame at one point.
With that beautiful tone of red that he chose as kind of the main color for the movie and for the marketing of the movie. So there's just this immediate enthusiasm for the genre. This guy is psyched to be doing a big swing indie horror movie. Because even though the budget was tiny on this movie, it feels like a big swing. Yeah,
no, the budget was tiny. He makes every frame look rich. That's
where the stylization
and crisp
comes
and
in
cinematic.
handy. It's he makes everything look a little surreal, a little off. He's establishing a mood from the very beginning, and I think that mood is very important, because when you do get some little, I don't know, quote unquote plot holes throughout, or in Act 3, this and that, to me the mood just carried me through the plot holes. Plot holes can be overcome. Plot holes are inevitable in movies, and they can really be be sort of counterbalanced by just a really strong mood, a real conviction in the tone and style of the movie, and some just great performances. And to me, that's what happened here. There are certainly some things where I was that was they kind of, there should have been an extra beat or two there to kind of develop that plot point or this and that. But these are minor gripes. Overall, this is a really fun, interesting, scary, cool horror movie. Strongly recommend you see it in theaters. Let's keep that box office going, baby. Up
Looks
and
good.
up and up. Let's fly me to the moon. I want to see Longlegs at plus 60,
It's
plus
fun.
70 by the end of this run.
It's a good one. Brett, you asked where it ranks on my horror power
Yes.
rankings. And it'll end up a third or fourth, but there are 2 new entries that we haven't spoke about on the podcast up there in the top 4, but maybe we'll hit on some of that a little later in the podcast as we get into our best movies of the year.
That's good. I think that makes sense. I think this is definitely one of the best horror movies of the year. And there are 2 like little, minor gripes. They're not even gripes. It's just more of just like a conversation around sort of horror and the making of horror. I did feel like, something that you've mentioned a lot is when directors have this sort of anxiety that their movie is not like interesting enough in every second, and they're constantly trying to like do something to keep the audience engaged, and then you could, the opposite example is something like, a movie we're going to talk about later today, Kiyoshi Kurosawa's new horror movie Chime, and he's a master of the form. It's not fair to compare him to Osgood Perkins. He's been working forever. But, that movie Chime, which we'll talk about later, is so confident in itself and has no need to like, oh no, the audience is lost interest. It is like so patient.
It doesn't have to be
masterful.
Kurosawa though, Brett, because how about The First Omen?
Yeah,
it was that
example.
woman's, first or second feature.
Akasha Stevenson, yeah.
And she murders and makes,
Yes.
and that is a very confident camera on First Omen.
And she might be showing up on my best of 2024 list later.
Really, I like that. But, I think that's a great comp because, first, second movie, this is Osgood, it's like 4th, 5th movie. But what I'm saying is early in their career, of course, Kurosawa is going to knock it out of the park. He is the master of the form. But I do think it's like The First Omen versus Maxine. You can tell when somebody knows what they want and gets it versus fumbling around for what they may want and then kind of getting it.
Yeah. And I did feel that like, you get like a big quote from a T-Rex song because Longlegs is like obsessed with Mark Bolan.
That was kind of cool.
Mark Bolan. I loved it because I'm a huge T-Rex fan, but I was also like, Mark Bolan's kind of catching a stray here.
Yeah, I know.
He is like the bar none favorite musician.
But when they put up the T-Rex lyrics, I was like, oh, those are creepy lyrics. I guess I never thought of it. That's fun.
I did. I was like, oh yeah, like Bolan gets a little like occulty with his lyrics, so it was fun. But I was like, I don't need an epigram and I don't need the chapters. Just make your movie.
This one did not need the
chapters. Why are we doing the chapters?
This might have been worst use of chapters on here.
Yes, so unnecessary.
It didn't help.
So unnecessary.
But it didn't like hurt. Maybe it hurt Brett because Brett's anti. To me, it was just a what?
Yeah.
And then the names of the chapters. It was like
that really didn't help.
A to G. It
that
wasn't
really
even like
did not help.
In Furiosa, it's like A to C, where you're like, oh, I see the thematic link with this chapter. And then in Longlegs, it's like that didn't set up anything.
Yeah, it was a director that was like worried that they were not being interesting enough or not going to be understood, which is the curse, I think, of directors. It's like, do not worry that you're not going to be do not try to like, I mean, certainly think about how the audience is going to interpret your movie, but don't overcompensate because you think the audience is not going to understand the themes of your movie. Because the other 2 things that I would have liked to see a little bit more of here is I mean, I don't know. I just want to like, the one thing that this movie made me think about is like the importance for me in my favorite horror movies, the importance of establishing like a plane of like normalcy that the horror is going to like play against. I even think of something, because I don't want to like set up false comparisons, but if you think of something even like The Shining, which is as hyper stylized of a horror movie as you're going to get, there is a whole the opening is full of dread where they're driving to the hotel, but I think Kubrick very intentionally gives you the normalcy of the hotel before he gives you the horror of the hotel, where Scatman Crothers is walking around showing them the kitchen and where the food is stored. There's a lot of like routine and normalcy, and that ends up making the horror so much more horrifying. For me, a movie like Longlegs, when it is just like pure mood and pure horror mood and horror aesthetic almost from start to finish without exception, even like the sort of normal scenes, because also compare it to Silence of the Lambs. I love, to me, some of the most critical scenes in Silence of the Lambs are those early scenes of FBI procedural stuff where you are Demi is so good at establishing Jodie Foster's character in this multidimensional way in those scenes, whether it's battling the sexism of the FBI or her own demons. She has a sense of humor. Like, there is this sort of like normalcy and natural rhythm of life that a lot of my favorite horror movies establish early on, and then when they go crazy, it's so much more affecting because they're playing against that. Whereas this movie really feels like a sort of dream or a hallucination kind of the entire movie, and even when you're in the FBI, the sets feel sort of surreal or off a little bit. And look, I can't really fault him because it's an intentional move. He clearly wanted that mood from start to finish. But I just think when it comes to horror movies, it's really useful to have a little bit more of a sort of plane of normalcy, and also to allow your characters to be a little more multidimensional. I think Micah Monroe's performance was great, but to me the character was just like she wears her trauma on her sleeve like so hard, even when she's like at work. It's like I like to see people be different at work than they aren't. Like I was
like, look, this Gen Z employee is really good. I was like, whoa, I didn't know.
I think I would like to see, like, maintain the aesthetic, but I would like a little more rhythm to the movie where we're seeing a couple different moves so that when we come back to the horror, it's more affecting. Whereas this just felt sort of like, hallucinatory start to finish, but not like to the extent of like something like, to use another Nicolas Cage movie, Mandy. It's not that stylized and hallucinatory. So this is a movie where I think Osgood Perkins could have played that strong horror mode off of something a little more realistic, and the effect of the movie would have been a little stronger.
I think Micah Monroe navigates the challenge of the sparseness of her character well and kind of provides a depth to it. That scene when she's with the little girl in the bedroom, though she's at her most awkward, is an opportunity for us to kind of get a little heart warmed around that character.
And I think that was supposed to be a little comic relief.
It
like
was
that
totally.
hard cut to her in the bed is like there was a little
funny.
little
there was a charming
laughter
little
in the audience.
moment.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, but I think this is a good example of, doing tone and doing style and keeping it relatively on the ground, at least for the first half of the film. I think that we could have felt more grounded in her character if some of the Act 3 things resolved a little bit more different, perhaps, or a little bit more, just differently. We might have felt a little differently about her performance or about her character, but that just didn't happen. So I know what you mean.
Because it is, without spoiling it, it is fully explained why she is the way that she is by the end of the movie. But even people again, to use Silence of the Lambs, Jodie Foster's character has trauma in her past in that movie, but you grow up and you learn to sort of develop an outward part of your personality that sort of hides your trauma, and to me that makes for more interesting characters where
but she's doing the
trauma is not
thing.
As transparent. She is
Micah
doing
Monroe's
the
doing the
thing.
Rain
Yes.
Man savant
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
And whether or not it's 100% successful, remains to be seen. But I think that was intentionally done. I'm not saying, and then she does it and it works. I think what fails her is the third act's script. I think it just kind of like makes her character less impactful, and we would have been more on board with her performance if it had a better sort of reason or something.
I think if there had been a little bit more work put into like the procedural aspects of the script, like the FBI procedural stuff, because we just sort of have to buy into her being a not just and this is early on in the movie, it's not a spoiler, but not just a savant but a psychic. It's one of the first scenes in the movie. It's implying that she has some sort of psychic abilities. We're just meant to sort of buy in on that. We don't get a lot of like good sort of like procedural like demonstrations of those abilities. I would have liked to have seen I think the detective work of the movie could have been a little bit better, and I think then maybe would have made her character come alive a little bit more. Again, I think the performance is great. I found the character like a little one note, a little one dimensional, and I could have used a little more rhythm. But overall, great movie. Nicolas Cage is just going 100 miles an hour. He's so wacky and fun, and you just get a lot of like the last thing I'd like to say is, as much as we love this golden age of indie horror that we're in right now between A24, Neon, IFC, This movie's so funny because to me it is a like campy B movie at heart. It has so much just like horror kitsch in it. Creepy dolls, serial killers, satanic stuff. It has so much just fun B movie camp, but it is clearly aspiring to the like to compete with your Ari Asters and your Robert Eggers, et cetera, whereas I want to just make sure, I think it's too late. I just don't think there's money for these types of movies or production companies interested in making them. Maybe I don't know, you tell me, but like it just feels like it is. To get a horror movie made now, you have to be aspiring to like the indie horror aesthetic. Whereas I feel like there's another version of Longlegs where they follow Nicolas Cage's lead a little bit, and it's just like a awesome, campy, wacky, satanic, creepy doll horror movie. But it still maintains its sort of preciousness. It's in the
shadow of the elevated horror movement inspired by the A24. And it's also sort of inspired by how prestige TV turned every genre category into an Emmy Award winning melodrama. It also goes back all the way, Brett, to like when the Dark Knight turned superhero movies into dark crime dramas, and how we kind of got to this elevated horror moment. I don't think this movie is emblematic of the failure of that. I think this is a sharp, good-looking movie, but I also know what Brett's saying.
You know what I mean? I just long for...
Longlegs is a weird, creepy, scary villain. It would be fun to see a little bit more. Kitsch it up. What Brett's saying is kind of true. Osgood Perkins, like, movie too cool and stylish, should be kind of ugly and stupid, right, bud?
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's it.
Should be a little fucking dumb.
Yeah.
It looks really good, dude. It looks
'cause
scary and nice.
This movement
look like shit.
This movement's based on a false premise that like sort of meaning and artistry always comes from this look that's put on the exterior, on the outward facing, the face of the movie. Whereas to me, some of my favorite horror, the at first it's like you just relax because the movie is so dumb and silly, and then the meaning like surprises you. It emerges from within the movie. Those are that's some of my favorite horror, and I would say, Longlegs is more on the side of good than on the side of try hard. I think 100%.
I think it's well photographed, confidently.
These are minor gripes.
More than this is emblematic of like how people are trading style for substance. Like, no, I think the movie actually just is good looking. That being said, maybe in a broader sense, Brett, when are we going to get Neon's doing A24 grime? When are we going to get fucking grime?
I know.
Where's the grime?
That's what I want.
Terrifier 3, Brett's on your list. We'll see, maybe some grime.
Yeah, Terrifier 3 is keeping that dream alive, I think, and maybe they can just like hand over what if like Osgood just handed over the sequel to like just some trash ass horror director, and we got one of those. Remember when like we would get like the horror sequels just used to be so trashy.
Yeah, Hills Have Eyes too.
Fun. Yes,
everything.
And even we've been watching Sword and Sorcery lately. Even like Deathstalker 2.
Make
one of Sarah Freilig's picks, 976 Evil Part 2. The second horror movie used to always be so. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is probably the primo example. I would love. If Longlegs did if they did a Longlegs 2 and it was like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I'd be in fucking heaven. Heaven.
I like it.
It could be like a prequel.
I agree with that. And Osgood Perkins he's going to go on to like the first like 4 frames of Longlegs, I was like, oh, this guy's going to get gobbled up and make the reboot Jason or whatever. He has such
he's going to get a big
he
franchise.
has the look of, I know James Wan's already working with him and Blumhouse and stuff. Like, he's going to get a franchise because he has a great look that's built for prestige franchise. But Longlegs, the property, Neon, give us a call. We'll do it for $2 million.
Oh, yes.
Nicolas Cage has to be Longlegs, though. That's the only caveat. And we're going to do like a Longlegs origin story.
I think origin story is like, not always the move, but in this case, I think is the move. Because there's a lot, again, no spoilers, but like everything that happened before this movie started, there's a lot of like prehistory that they kind of do like this, and they do it effectively. But there's a lot to dig into in the prehistory of this movie.
Could have used more Longlegs in this movie, is my note.
Could have used more Longlegs.
I want that in number 2.
Yes.
More Longlegs in Silence of the Lambs, which I watched last night.
Let's explore the
You get a lot of Anthony Hopkins.
Let's explore the Mark Bolan fandom in our prequel. How did that happen?
Oh, Longlegs.
And there's a little shot of like Lou Reed's Transformer in his lair as well. I was like, Longlegs has great taste in music.
Wait, when did Longlegs? Wait, Longlegs is fucking cool. Well, Longlegs.
Creepy Longlegs has great taste in music.
No spoilers. Let's.
Here we go, Joe.
Let's do it.
Best of 2024. Here we go. So far. But I was saying to you before we started, Joe, kind of under the radar, amazing year for movies so far. We are going to, we're going to be covering a lot of movies we've already covered. Joe and I caught up on a lot of like international cinema, some like indie movies we hadn't seen. Man, there have been some amazing movies that have come out this year, and we're going to be giving you a lot of sort of like micro reviews, micro recommendations as we go through this list of movies that we haven't talked about on Movies Baby yet. But rejoice, movie lovers, because there's a lot of good stuff out there. I know Joe and I spend a lot of our time just shit talking all the fakes and the phonies, your Ty Wests, your Yorgoses. And speaking of, we published that clip this week about faux tours, who we think faux tours are. I think we should start a faux tours board as well, because people were also shouting out other faux tours.
Dang.
No, these people are powerful. They're running indie cinema / Hollywood. They can come down a peg.
Wow.
Make better movies and then get off the board. The board is not permanent.
That is
Yorgos
true.
wouldn't have been on the board for me before, not even after Poor Things, but 2 in a row. Come on, Yorgos, you're going on the board.
I know Yorgos is good at directing. I just don't like his choices.
And I think he's leaning into the phonier aspects of his aesthetic as he goes on. The last two, this is
cringy taste.
If anything,
it's not going to age great, a lot of his stuff, because it is going to become cringe. The expiration date, his movies are milk.
And also watch the other movies we're going to talk about. That is always because sometimes you're like, am I being too hard? And then I go and watch these movies we're going to talk about. And I'm like, no, I'm not being too hard. We need to celebrate the true auteurs. And part of that is taking these fake auteurs down a peg, because what happens is the fake auteurs, because, they know how to kiss ass. They know how to work the angles. They find their big A-listers that love to work with them. They tend to rise the ranks and obscure the true auteurs. So we are here to set the record straight.
Yes, we are.
It was very funny, though, online, because there was a lot of support for us for us having Ty West. The Ty West backlash is in full effect right now from what I was seeing online. Full effect.
Maxine wasn't like
people are waking up.
Good.
People are waking up because I think everyone wanted these movies to be good because of the look and the style and the ambition of them.
Right.
But it was so fun watching Longlegs this week, because I was like, this is like an enthusiastic, passionate example of what Ty West does without passion, without vision, without enthusiasm, and in a kind of cynical way. Because a lot of the few Ty West defenders that I was seeing on our video, on our clip, were saying like, we're basically saying like, yeah, it's supposed to be bad because like he's making fun of horror tropes, and horror tropes are bad. And I was like, no, they're not. Horror is like bar none the best movie genre since the beginning of time. Yeah. Like if Ty West can't hang with horror, he doesn't need to bring the genre crashing down around him. Just go do something else.
We need to
I don't think he likes horror.
We need to sage the room. We need to get this Ty West, get this Ty West energy out of here. Here I am. I'm shaking my hands. I'm saging the room. We're not going to talk about him anymore unless he's on your best director list.
He's not.
We're doing it, folks.
But there's a lot of pushback for Yorgos. There's a lot of Yorgos stands out there. They also did not want to talk about Poor Things and Kinds of Kindness, though. They're really pushing Dogtooth Favorite, and I love Dogtooth and Favorite, but those movies were a long time ago, and he just had 2 stinkers in a row. He's on the Fauteurs board until he fixes his shit.
I liked Kinds of Kindness. It was okay. Okay, let's do fucking.
All right. Sage the room. Sage the room.
Because now it's all positive vibes. Because these are the best, baby.
These are the best. This is what movies are all about. These movies. Now, Joe, I want to start with. We're going to do. We both made our own lists. We're going to do the top 10 movies of the year so far. I have my list. You have your list, and then we're going to create a joint list, which is going to involve a lot of real down and dirty bartering, compromises.
That's right.
Then we're also going to do our best actor, actress, supporting actress, best directors. We're going to do the whole thing for the first half of this year. Let's start, though, with Best Picture. Because I also want to shout out a couple honorable mentions, and then we'll get into it.
Why don't you take? So, what about taking me through
Yes.
your whole spiel. Your best
Great.
pictures, your honorable,
Great.
everything you're
Great.
thinking.
Great.
Get it out there on the board, and then I'll give you mine, and then we'll get to work on the movies baby list.
Great.
10 best movies of the year so far.
Great. And actually, so we don't like to add some suspense and some tension. How about when we get into our top 10 lists, let's do what we normally do and like kind of go back and forth, reveal our list, and let's try to build the list as we go.
Okay, so
because I think we're gonna actually have more commonality, like at like in the 1 through 5 than in the 6 through 10.
I know that.
So let's sort of go back and forth. We'll reveal like what our top 5 are, and then we'll start to make our list, and we'll go from there, just to add some suspense as we get.
Direct me through.
I'm gonna
through
direct you like Osgood Perkins, baby. I'm gonna
cool.
maximize
Hip and stylish.
tension and fun. I'm gonna keep
you're
it
gonna
hip.
make
I'm
me
gonna
look
keep it
great.
stylish.
Great.
I'm gonna be enthusiastic about what I'm doing.
Nice.
Not jaded and over it.
We saged the room.
We saged the room. He who shall not be named. All right. So a couple honorable mentions. Some movies that we've talked about on this podcast this year that we really liked. They're not going to be in my top 10, but I wanted to shout them out. Love Lies Bleeding, which was directed by St. Maud's director Rose Glass, the great Rose Glass, who's on a really incredible trajectory right now, really singular vision. Love what you're doing, Rose. Really liked Love Lies Bleeding. Also, Guy Ritchie's Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. We love Guy just pounding out a movie a year. Mid-tier action movies, war movies, crime movies, baby. The return of the mid-tier movie. Guy Ritchie is doing it. He's bringing them back. I just had such an enjoyable time at the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. It might appear in another one of my categories, but it's not going to be top 10 movies of the year so far.
Let me guess. It's that beautiful woman in Best Supporting Actress.
She's great. The Baby Driver. We gotta stop saying beautiful woman, Joe. It's we gotta name the actors. Eliza Gonzalez.
Eliza Gonzalez. But you know of whom I spoke. She's the
only
only woman in the movie.
I immediately know of who you speak.
Okay.
Eliza Gonzalez is amazing in this. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay. I want to shout out a pair of movies that share a premise: The Beekeeper and Thelma. The Beekeeper and Thelma, two great movies that you should watch that are both about old people getting scammed and then the scammers getting their comeuppance. One super just dumb, fun, funny action movie with Jason Statham. The other, this great indie character study with June Squibb. Also, Richard Roundtree's last movie. Malcolm McDowell shows up in this thing. That Fred Heckinger kid from White Lotus, who I'm really liking right now. I can't wait to see him in Gladiator 2. He's a lot of fun in this. Parker Posey, Clark Gregg. Oh my gosh, great cast. Yes. Saw it last night. Really had a lot of fun at it. Also, The People's Joker, Vera Drew coming out of the Tim and Eric School, doing an incredible just like fun, just playful fuck you to the kind of DC universe and comic book movies, but made this incredible funny, one of the funniest movies of the year. And it's a movie we talked about, was made 2 or 3 years ago, but then got in this big legal battle with DC. Give me a break. Finally was able to come out. I think it literally at the beginning says like a fair use picture by Vera Drew. Nice. Either that was legally required or it's a fun little final middle finger to DC. Either way, I love it. This movie is fun, anarchic, and so funny. And then last one I wanted to shout out is we gotta shout this out. We haven't mentioned this movie because this is by a fellow podcaster made a movie. I'm talking about Stress Positions. You know Stress Positions?
Absolutely.
Written and directed by Theta Hamill from Nympho Wars. Love podcasters making movies.
Love Nympho Wars.
I'm not talking about Daily Wire podcasters. I'm talking about good podcast making movies. So Theta Hamill from Nympho Wars wrote and directed Stress Positions. Yeah. Very fun, like you're in Brooklyn during COVID movie, people coming in and out of the apartment, social distancing, a lot of fun stuff going on. John Early, killer performance. Give that man more roles, please. John Early kills it in Stress Positions. Not going to make my top 10 of the year so far, but really worth watching. You can find it on video on demand right now. And that's it. Joe, I don't want to give anything away, but you saw. I didn't see this yet, but you said you liked Hundreds of Beavers.
Yeah, Hundreds of Beavers was great.
Yeah,
Hundreds of Beavers, super cool, super inventive, super funny. He, really puts the movie together with seemingly like not a lot and makes it
I've heard this thing is great.
Yeah, it's a blast. It's super cool.
Is it animated or what is the deal with Hundreds of Beavers?
It's like green screened.
Okay.
And he pops in and out of stuff. And he's a hunter, and then there's guys in beaver costumes, and it's all Looney Tunes, like a live-action Looney Tunes.
Super fun.
It's very impressive.
And this is Mike Cheslick directed Hundreds of Beavers.
Very impressive, very funny, a very cool movie.
All right. But those are the honorable mentions. Let's get into the top 10 movies of the year so far. Okay, so I've got my big board over here.
Wow.
Now, I want to go in reverse order, like I said, because I think we're going to have more commonalities in our top 5 is my guess.
So should we start at the top then?
Yes, I think we should, because that one I feel like I know
okay.
what it is.
Okay, so what do you want to do? Do you want me to say my top 5 or you say top 3?
I want you to say,
top 3?
I want us to both on the count of 3 say our number one movie of 2024 so far.
All right.
All right.
That should
our
be
number
easy
one
enough.
movie of 2024 so far on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Aggro
Drift,
Drift,
directed by Harmony Korine. Number 1 with a bullet.
Yeah, we're gonna be lockstep on that one, Brett.
And you can watch it right now. You don't have to go to your local strip club and see it projected on a wall. Although that's the way you should see it.
You could ask your local strip club if you can project it on the wall.
If you own a strip club, you should be downloading this movie and projecting it on the wall of your strip club. Aggro Drift. You can get it at edgelord.com, I believe, Harmony Korine's production company's site. Go check it out. Buy it. Own it, project it on the walls of strip clubs, liquor stores, what have you.
Parents' bedroom,
SoFi Stadium,
school bus. I don't know.
Like a burned out school bus in a junkyard.
Well, if you're like a bad kid and you're cool and you're sitting in the back, you want to show some friends some weird shit. Show them Aggro Drift. You know?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. All right, so Aggro Drift, number 1 with a bullet.
Yeah, inventive, changing the form, 10 steps ahead. Harmony's a genius. I love Aggro Drift. Can't speak highly about it.
Just blowing up, like we said before,
the reason we're kind of blowing right past it
blowing up the moment. We've already talked about it.
We've talked about it ad nauseum. It's
Go
incredible.
back and watch our Aggro Drift episode. You can find all of our clips and episodes on youtube.com/moviesbaby with 5 Ys or listen on your podcast app. We did a whole rundown. We love it. It blows up the moment. It's the future. It's the present. It's everything. We love Aggro Drift. Okay, so number 2 through 5. Why don't you give me your 2 through 5?
Okay. My second favorite movie of the year is a movie that we haven't talked about on the podcast yet, but my favorite movie of the year is Radu Jude's Do Not Expect Too Much from the End of the World. This is an absolutely razor sharp comedy from Romania that simultaneously distills the cultural moment that we all live in, whether you're in Romania or America or anywhere in the world. And it also distills the entire amazing history of Romanian and other cinema into one movie. It's edited brilliantly. The satire is razor sharp. The performances are so funny. And the end is a ballsy 40-minute long shot that absolutely punishes sort of the corporate filmmaking that we are constantly inundated with. I cannot speak highly enough about this movie. It is incredibly inspiring. There are moments of, Cassavetes in there and moments of Jarmusch in there. And there's all sorts of great stuff. Whip smart writing, an amazing lead performance by the main actress, who I'll get to in my best actress. But Brett, that is my number 2.
Joe, guess what my number 2 is? My number 2 is Radu Jude's black comedy Do Not Expect Too Much from the End of the World is also my number 2. If Aggro Drift is just blowing up the cultural moment and was sent to us from the future, Do Not Expect Too Much from the End of the World is the cultural moment.
Yes.
And you can't try to represent the cultural moment. You can't be self-conscious. You just kind of have to do it and do it in this really authentic way. And most importantly, in a funny way, in a really, really funny way. This is, I would say, maybe the funniest movie of the year so far.
Absolutely.
It's so funny. It is just pitch perfect dark comedy. It reminded me of the Czech New Wave and that generation, just sort of Eastern European dark comedy. It is so funny. It is the main actress who I know I think we'll both talk about a little bit later, Alinka Manalake, doing these and like making fun of Andrew Tate TikToks throughout that are like
They're so
just
funny.
like so fucking funny and so vile and hilarious.
The writing would remind you of like Iannucci mean.
Yes.
You know what I mean, Brett?
Yes.
It
has
has
like edge, baby.
Whippy,
Edge.
quippy dialogue, but like mean and quick. And her performance is sort of the most incredible, pitch perfect, like young 25-year-old girl doing her shitty jobs in the shitty world we live in, Gen Z hip movie kind of thing.
It's about
but it's that, but sublime. It's that, but as funny as it can be, as real as it can be, and as damning satirically as can be. And I'm really glad that you liked it. And I
loved it so much.
Yeah.
And really quickly, she's driving. The main character is like driving around Bucharest, filming
she's
interviewing like talking heads for what is going to be a safety, like a corporate safety video for this big multinational corporation that she's like freelancing for and not getting paid that well to do. But then as she's interviewing these people, you realize that like all of these people got like horrible workplace injuries that were the fault of the company, and so they're doing this workplace safety video to like as a disguise. It seems like what they're really doing is like trying to like get to the bottom of these people and see like potential lawsuits and stuff. And then the person who gets chosen to be in the video, they like sort of have to like retell his like story so that it's like not, the company's like not held liable. And like Joe said, there's this incredible finals section. It's like 40 minutes. It's a single shot of them doing the actually filming the corporate safety video, and they
set up a big
stunning,
beautiful shot. It's
stunning,
and then they just do a play in front of the shot.
They
for
do
40
a play.
minutes.
Yes,
and it is so.
You get the best
amazing.
like theater of the absurd 40-minute play to end.
That's balls. That's maximalist style.
Thank you.
That's satire. That's pulling from influences from previous films and putting them in your film. That's all the things that some of these maximalist, fake fucking American directors
That's
are
why
going
we
for.
are hard on the faux tours, baby, because there are real auteurs out there and they get overshadowed because real auteurism demands more.
Brilliant.
It doesn't have as much mainstream cinematic, marketing appeal. And so we got to shout these people out. We got to defend them. This movie is totally worth seeing. You can watch it on Mubi right now. Check it out. Do not expect too much from the end of the world. And you get a freaking Uwe Boll cameo in this movie.
You do.
You get a freaking Uwe Boll cameo and it's so funny. He's
is.
so funny. He talks about how he like punched out a film critic. Punch me out, Uwe Boll. It would make my life. All right, so that is we got our first two locked in. We are.
That movie's so funny. I'd recommend it to anybody. But number 3. I wonder when we stop being the same, Brett.
Yeah, I know. When are we gonna start?
My
fighting?
number 3. When are we gonna start fighting? My number 3, third best movie I've seen this year, is La Chimera. La Chimera, Alice Rohrwacher's Italian, gorgeous Italian movie about grave robbing, about relationships, starring Josh O'Connor and starring the absolutely brilliant Carol Duarte as Italia. It's so Italian. It's so good looking. It has all these wonderful themes. She's a classicist, like she's like a classics major kind of a person, Alice is, and all of the things about ancient Rome and antiquity and culture and digging it up and loss and life. It's so beautiful. It's so funny. It's so sad. Great performances. And really, I think it just grows on me every single day. And when I think about the movie, it really makes me smile. We talked about
such a pleasure.
It's such a pleasure.
Yeah. Because she's also a classicist, I think, in terms of cinema, because you see some really strong Fellini influences, French New Wave influences. Like we said before, she's really working within the tradition of European art house cinema, but taking it to a new level and making it her own.
Wildly enjoyable.
I loved La Chimera as well. I have it at 4.
Okay, so I wonder if
I'm fine with either.
But hold on now, because
yes.
I bet my 4. I wonder if it's your 3.
Go ahead. Okay,
my 4 is Hamaguchi's Evil Does Not Exist. Is that what you have for 3?
I don't. I actually.
All right.
I have Evil Does Not Exist at 6. So now we're starting to get. Now we're starting to get into some. It was very hard.
Well, then I'll round out my my top 5 then. So I have Aggro Drift. Do Not Expect Too Much from the End of the World. Then La Chimera. At 4, I have Hamaguchi's Evil Does Not Exist, which is another razor sharp satire.
We talked about, I believe, last week.
We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
It's super funny,
it's
incredibly
so
beautiful,
it's
incredibly
so
powerful, great movie. And then 5, I have Alex Garland's Civil War to round out my top 5.
Oh, God. Oh, now we're really going to have a problem. Okay. So you have Civil War over Janet Planet?
I do.
Oh, my God. Okay. All right. So I am happy to put La Chimera at 3 then.
Okay, great. Well, thank you.
Because I had it at 4, you have it at 3, split.
I'm so interested to hear what you had at 3. Oh, Janet Planet. That's your
At 3,
movie.
I have Janet Planet
That's your
because
fucking movie.
I do think this is my list. Yes. I do. La Chimera it's hard to argue with. I think maybe objectively is a better movie than Janet Planet, but I just connected so much to Janet Planet. I just it was just like that, even though it was in Massachusetts, it reminded me of the sort of rural suburbia outside Atlanta in the 90s. I just connected so much to the vibe of the movie. The performances were all pitch perfect. The screenplay was spot on. The directing was for a first movie was shockingly good. I mean, I shouldn't say shocking because Annie Baker's a genius, but you know what I mean? Like a feature debut film that looks like that. Incredible.
I agree. I have it 6, Brett. I'm totally fine with putting it 4. Totally fine.
Then we just switch. Yeah. Then I give you. We get. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
We'll talk about
right?
5. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So Janet Planet. Now, but here's the thing, though: is I'm not saying we should engineer the list. I would love something in the top 5 that was not straight art house.
Tough shit. Unfortunately,
damn
what's
it.
your fucking what? No. Here's why I push back.
Yes.
Because there's nothing better than
it is artificial engineering.
It's artificial engineering. Unless you want to talk to me about Civil War, then no.
No, I do not want to talk about Civil War.
So you have.
So then that would put Evil Does Not Exist at 5, which I'm fine. That's just one down for me.
What did you have 4?
Well, 4 I had La Chimera. 5.
Okay, what'd you have 5? Because
5.
Mine's Civil War. What's your 5?
I had fucking Monkey Man, baby, which
5,
you rated
Monkey
higher.
Man.
You rated that higher than Civil War when we did the rankings.
I know. Movies have lives.
They do have lives.
Monkey Man's
on
my
list. Have you rewatched Civil War since?
Yeah.
You have? Honestly?
Yeah.
Okay, because you took a little pause there.
I didn't watch the whole thing.
Okay. You revisited it.
I did.
Okay. I have not, and I will not.
But why? Or whatever.
I feel very confident with my first
you have
viewing
Monkey Man
of it.
5.
Yes.
Okay, but look. Monkey Man is awesome. It's a breath of fresh air. It's an injection of energy, and it's such a fucking. One of the reasons I gave it 5 stars is I love the brashness with which Dev Patel reintroduces himself as this awesome action director.
Yes,
but with time and with heart and with thought and a lot of consideration, and I don't take back my 5. I give Dev the 5. He earned the 5. But yeah, I as time has gone on and I've revisited a lot of these films, there are movies that are better, and Evil Does Not Exist is better than Monkey Man, even though I love Monkey Man very much.
Fair. Okay, I'll put Evil Does Not Exist at 5 then. That rounds out our 5.
Oh, wow. Joe and Brett are complete assholes. Their top 5 are all movies that no one's ever fucking heard of and can't see. It's tough.
You can see...
Make them you can see them. We saw them. And also... These are good. If you haven't seen these movies, lucky you. They're so good.
We're being honest.
You're going to love them.
Being honest.
Also, we just have to be honest. Sorry.
Yeah.
We can't be the coolest guys of all time every fucking day.
These are the best 5 movies of the year so far.
Brett, doesn't that feel like you're looking down at the list come on.
Yes. So right now these are the top 5 movies of 2024 so far.
It's a little esoteric, but it's true.
It's true.
Aggro
Drift. Do not expect too much from the end of the world, which is on. Look, Aggro Drift, you can go watch it online right now. Edgelord.com.
Yeah.
Do not expect too much from the end of the world. It's on Mubi.com right now. Mubi.com. La Chimera, if it's not on video demand, it will be. It's on Amazon. Go see it on Amazon.
And the last 2 are still in the movie theaters.
Last 2 are still in the movie theaters, and they'll be on VOD
tomorrow.
very soon.
Right.
Very soon. Okay, these are the best 5 movies of 2024 so far, bar none.
Yeah, Brett, I really honestly think that's right. And okay, you think Monkey Man, and okay, I think Civil War, but I think we both agreed on short order because of the power of Janet Planet and Evil Does Not Exist.
Yes.
Kind of what are we going to do? They're just good.
You can't argue.
What
with
are we
going
to do?
All right. So
here we go.
Okay.
Now the 5.
So you had Civil War at 5.
I did. Why don't we hear? Should we hear?
I have Monkey Man at 5. Okay.
Look, I wonder how different we're going to be. Can I hear your 6 through 10?
You can hear my 6 through 10. Okay. So. Well, I had Evil Does Not Exist at 6.
Fine.
I'm just going to switch that.
Man.
I'm going to switch that, right? So Monkey Man, let's say 6.
Okay.
My remaining movies are not on this list.
Movies.
Monkey Man. Then I had Richard Linklater's Hitman at 7. Then I have The First Omen at 8. Then I have Furiosa, a Mad Max saga at 9. And then, this one I want to talk about for 1 second. Because the others... My opinion of them has not changed. You can go back and listen to my initial review. I love these movies. The First Omen, I will say, actually got a lot better for me the second viewing.
Yeah, you did come back strong.
I am
after
getting
second
obsessed with First Omen.
It's good.
Because of the direction of it by Arkasha Stevenson, and the main performance
Yeah, Nell Tiger Free.
by Nell Tiger Free, thank you, is just phenomenal. I mean, the birth scene outside of the car after
awesome.
the car accident, holy
awesome.
shit, is fearless, but
Possession
it pays
level.
off. Oh my, is exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, she's watching
She watched
Isabella
Possession.
Johnny in Possession.
No shade. Like she
Yes.
watched it and then she did it.
But she
correctly.
did it.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
it
one
was
thing
good.
to like watch and be inspired by it.
No.
She did it.
It was good.
It's
She's really
so good.
She's on my best actress
So First
list.
Omen is just getting better and better for me.
Okay.
I initially thought that was going to be an honorable mention. I rewatched it. I was like, no, this has got to make the list.
So what's 10?
10. A movie that like we liked and had very good things to say about, also had some issues with. I went back and rewatched it, and I really had a better experience on my second viewing. I compare it a lot to Jordan Peele's Nope, where there's just so, and I'll go ahead and say I'm talking about Jane Schoenbrun's I Saw the TV Glow. I went back and rewatched this, and I watched it with the premise of, I think this movie is like a rich, dense text. I think there is so much meaning layered into it, from all of the interplay between the show within the movie, the Pink Opaque, that they watch, which is like sort of like a WB, Charmed Buffy era teenage sort of supernatural show. My assumption is there's so much like meaning written into that. There is so much meaning written into just all the little signs and symbols throughout the movie. So I decided to approach it. And a movie like that, I don't really feel like you can fully appreciate it on the first viewing, because there's like little signs and symbols throughout the first 30, 45 minutes that you don't even know what context to place them in. You don't know that you're even supposed to be paying attention to them. So I had a sense that the second viewing was going to be better, and it was. This movie truly is a just like rich, dense text of symbolic meaning throughout. There are so many little, it cheapens it to call them Easter eggs, because they're not Easter eggs. It's meaning. It's symbolic meaning written into the movie. It's not like a little like, oh, I get that reference. It's like relates to character and plot and theme. But I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to like, but I would say if you haven't watched I Saw the TV Glow, if you've only seen it once, go back and watch it from that perspective of like paying attention to every detail. Don't be half on your phone. Don't get up 8 different times to do something else. This is a movie that deserves to be watched like carefully and closely, and it really reveals this hidden layer of symbolic meaning that filled in a lot of the holes in the story that I thought were there on my first viewing, and I really just needed to watch it a second time. I still do think that the central two performances, the main two performances, Justice Smith and Brigitte Lundy-Payne are like a little weak. They are not like the strongest performances to me, and I think part of the issue is it feels very much like a Wes Anderson movie where the performances are meant to serve like the style and the themes and the symbolism of the movie, and are not allowed to just be sort of authentic performances. They feel like sort of tools in the puzzle that Jane Schoenbrun was building with this movie, and I would have liked to seen maybe more sort of expansive, naturalistic performances from those two main actors. But when you're a director who's taking on a young director, this is Jane Schoenbrun's second movie. When you're a young director taking on this much stuff that you have to keep all of these symbols and meanings and show within the show and time jumps and all that stuff organized, I understand that it's probably expedient to just sort of make the performances part of the map of the movie and not these like more sort of authentic, naturalistic performances. So I get it. It just does sort of lessen the overall effect of the movie. For me, the big exception there is that Justice Smith in the last 10-15 minutes of the movie, the top is taken off of that performance and he is allowed to go wild with it, and it's the most effective acting in the movie, and I think I would have liked to have seen more of that. And I understand that maybe that's the point, is that they're sort of delaying this big explosive sort of character moments that he has at the end, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that throughout. But overall, this is just such an interesting, gorgeous, surreal movie with so much detail built into it. Like I'll give you one example. There was even there's that tracking shot of Justice Smith walking through the halls of the school with that sort of dreamy, it's not Broken Social Scene, but that sort of dream indie pop kind of sound. and they're flashing all these overlays of all the VHS tapes that the other characters is making for him to introduce him to this TV show because he can't watch it on his own because his dad's an asshole. And I had kind of written that shot off as just a little sort of long and a little pretentious and overdone. You said you loved it. I think you're right, Joe, because I started to see even like the walls of the high school have all these like inspirational quotes written on them, and I even was like paying attention to the quotes, and the same quote that starts the scene ends the scene. And it's a quote, I think it's to thine own self be true, which is very interesting to the meaning of the movie. So there's like little things like that where I was like, man, there's just such detail and care given to this movie. And I love that. So I've got, I wasn't sure if it was going to make my top 10 on a rewatch. It definitely does. I saw the TV Glow at 10.
My 5 left over, that was 5. I had Civil War, so we'll call that 6. Civil War, Furiosa. 8, I had Chime.
Okay.
Shiroshi,
Okay.
By Kurosawa.
All right.
The guy who did Pulse.
Tell me a little bit about. Tell us a little bit about Chime.
So this is the new horror film. It's 45 minutes long, by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, the director of Pulse and Chime and Cure, 2 of the greatest horror movies ever made.
Bar none.
He's a brilliant Japanese auteur, and his new movie is Chime, it's my favorite horror movie of the year because it is so brilliant in 10 different ways. First of all, you can only get it as an NFT, which sounds like immediately lame, but he does the coolest version of this.
It's not. It's cool.
It's cool.
There's also, it's like I was like, oh, NFT should be more like this, where it's just like an open market where there was like a select number of rentals released, digital rentals, and then the person who buys the original rental can then put it back on the market at like a price point.
Right.
And like I rented this movie for like $2.
I rented it for 500 yen, which is only $3.
Yes.
But yes, there's
Look this up online. You can rent it right now on the NFT
250
market.
or 300 copies of Chime sold on the blockchain, and the people that own the movie can put it up for rent. Some people were running it for 500 yen. Some people were running it for like $650, and you get to pick which one you want to rent. So I watched number 77. What'd you watch? I watched 77. I was like, click.
I can't remember what number it was.
Like,
but I got it for like I rented it for $2. So hopefully the market doesn't go crazy and I have to like backtrack on this, because right now I was like, oh, this version of NFTs seems cool.
This is very cool. So for you to like find the link, read Japanese, buy the thing is like an unnerving experience, because you're like, am I all my money gonna get stolen out of my bank account because of this NFT nonsense? The answer is maybe. So don't say you heard it from me. But if you do take the risk, it adds to the whole like experience, because then you're sitting on your computer and he puts up these terrifying crystal frames. The movie's about a guy who teaches. It's a chef who's sort of stuck in teaching, who's trying to get back into the restaurant game, and things go awry when one of his students hears this mysterious chime that drives him insane. It's one of the great "this guy's going insane slowly" movies. It's one of the great innovations in film right now, sort of akin to Aggro Drift, where somebody's thinking really forward about distribution and about the future of movies and about how we interact with media, and doing that in a really cool way. I mean,
and wow, 45 minutes is a fun length for a movie.
It's a gift from a master.
Not everyone can do it, but he nails the 45-minute length. Joe, I second. It's definitely one of my favorite movies I've seen this year. The only reason it did not crack my top 10 is it felt like Kurosawa feels like can spit out a great 45-minute movie in his sleep. It feels like a little bit of like a fun exercise he took on, and he nailed it. But he also has 2 more feature-length movies coming out this year, one of which is a remake of his own movie. The other, Cloud, is an original. The trailer for Cloud looks unbelievable. So I'm kind of like, it felt like this is like maybe just sort of like a fun exercise he took on, and then I'm waiting to see what Cloud is like. I might backtrack after I rewatch it. This is a movie that could end up being on my year-end top 10, even though it wasn't here.
Wow.
But right now, it just like, I'm waiting to see Cloud. I'm kind of waiting to see how the year sorts out for Kiyoshi Kurosawa. That's assuming we get Cloud in the U.S. for the end of the year, which we might not.
Well, I'm ready to to love and be hurt. I'm ready to jump all the way
Great.
in. I'm putting Chime 8.
Okay.
9, I Am Who I Am. I have Horizon Chapter 1. Speaking of greatness, speaking of genius.
I love it. You're falling on your sword.
Speaking of
once again.
auteurs, not falling on the sword, I'm picking up the sword and carrying it forth into heroic battle.
And then falling on it.
And then 10, I have the excellent, fun as hell, still smiling about it, Monkey Man. So,
Cool.
Brett,
Cool.
the only 2 movies that we have combined,
Monkey Man and Furiosa.
Monkey Man. So I'm thinking we gotta
Furiosa's
honor.
at 6.
I have Furiosa 7, but you have Monkey Man 5, and I have it 10. Like,
Well, and I have Furiosa at 9, but I'm saying since Furiosa are both like our shared high, like but Monkey Man kind of is the same
They're
split.
even.
Yeah, so it feels like Furiosa and Monkey Man are 6 and
let's
7.
honor Monkey Man with 6.
Hell yes.
Because
Hell
Dev
yes.
earned it,
Yes.
and because that's our movie.
I love it.
You know
I
what I
love
mean?
it. No, I am not seeing this on anybody's fucking list.
Oh,
Even the
wrong.
people with like shit lists. I'm not seeing like
I
people.
love this movie.
And I mean shit lists. I mean people who are just like choosing like who just went to AMC and haven't like watched anything else. I didn't even see it on those lists. What the fuck is going on?
We're a Monkey Man island.
Thank you.
But I love here on Monkey Man Island.
Monkey Man's at 6,
Yeah.
and then
Furiosa has
Furiosa.
to
I
go
love that.
7.
We need to. Furiosa is ending up being like the buried movie of the year.
Right.
I think because it underperformed at the box office and then the box office exploded, there is like everyone's financial incentive is to like forget that Furiosa happened. That thing is so good. I liked it better than Fury Road. I know that's not everyone's read, but I thought it was like a richer, more nuanced vision of the Fury Road world. I loved
Incredible.
it. Yes.
Yeah, it's so amazing to watch. It's so creative, so many cool characters, so many cool original thoughts about what the wasteland's going to be like in 3 years after Trump wins again and all this. So it really is good. So now we have to battle it out. So my 3 that Brett doesn't have include 2 movies that he doesn't really like and one that he does.
That's right.
But I have Civil War and Horizon, which Brett is out on, more or less. Not to be quick about it, he's out on those movies, but he's in on Chime. Brett, your movies where I saw the TV glow,
Hitman and First Omen.
Hitman and First Omen. Well, look, I like First Omen very much.
I know. That's the one I think I can get you on.
I like First Omen very much.
What do you think you can get me on from Civil? Well, I know what you can get me
Chime.
on. Yeah, Chime.
You just talked about it.
Yeah, I love Chime.
Lovingly for like a minute there. But how about this?
2 horrors on here is fun.
Can I say something though?
Yes.
I kind of feel like, how can we get Civil War 9 or 10 and I saw a TV glow 9 or 10?
Okay.
Because don't you feel like,
Yeah.
I feel like you're repping, like, does that immediately break your heart?
Here's what we, no.
I know.
Let me propose,
I know Horizon's
let me propose,
not going to be on
Let
your
me
list.
propose
Yeah,
something for you.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Tell me.
Because I think as good as much as I like Chime, as good as it is, I feel like my argument is sound. That it is a.
You don't think it's a real movie because it's 45 minutes?
No,
long.
that's not it. That's not it. It's,
I don't
it's
think it's
knowing,
an
knowing,
exercise.
like looking at Kurosawa. It's not as simplistic as that. It's like looking at Kurosawa's like sort of like projects in production, plan for the year. The fact that this is the company is, what is it? I have it written down here. Roadstead. That's like Roadstead's is the one that's like doing the whole platform and the NFT-ness and all that. It's their first movie, and it feels like they went out like, let's go see if Kurosawa, like, oh my god, Kurosawa said yes, he'll do our first movie. Like, it just feels like a fun exercise, and like Kurosawa of course pulled a freaking masterpiece out of it.
I hear you. I think my interpretation is less exercise, more this is all this story need. It's a show of strength and a show of confidence, but I am willing to hear what you are thinking instead of putting Chime on the list. Tell me sort of like how you're fantasizing about. What do we have left? Just 8, 9, 10?
8, 9, 10. So you like Civil War
I
9.
really like First Omen. I saw the TV glow, and I like Hitman, but like I don't think it's better than I saw the TV glow.
Let's do this. Let's Hitman and Horizon are like canceling
Those
each
are
other
our
out.
movies.
Yes.
Those are our movies.
I love Hitman. You don't like it. You love Horizon. I don't like Horizon.
Right.
So
I do like Hitman. I just like it. That's all.
Fine. It's not. Those cancel each other out.
Okay.
So now we are down to
First Omen, Chime, I saw the TV glow, and Civil War.
So you really want Civil War. Where was Civil War for you?
5.
Okay, so what you just did there is you ensured that it has to make the list.
It has to be at least 10.
Yeah, okay. So
put it 10.
I would put it at 10.
Put it 10 because you didn't like it. So it's like this is you read my mind. This was my big plan.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, you being so gracious
and
about
I do
that,
love, here's what I like. I like Because to me, Jesse Plemons gave two of my favorite performances this year in two movies I did not like.
I haven't. I hear you.
So I like this is for Jesse as Civil War.
Can I talk about a couple sentences on Civil War really quick?
Please.
Why it's on this list?
Yes.
When that bullet buzzed past Trump's ear, did you not start thinking about Alex Garland's Civil War?
I did not.
when the photojournalists at the rally rush towards the bullets as they're being fired to get their cameras up to take those now iconic shots
they're paparazzi
of Trump, that suggests that is the actions of a wild person. And that is also exactly what the movie Civil War is about. And how could I not think of the moment at the end of Civil War when they go through all of that death and destruction to get that picture, because they are junkies for fucking adrenaline. They're psychopaths, and they go all the way to Trump, and they, right before they kill him in the movie, they take the last picture of him, and that's what it's all about. And I really felt that when I saw this assassination attempt this week. I always thought Civil War was a bit of a warning. I always thought Civil War is going to be a grower in our collective conscious. I've been repping his photography in that film for all year long. I think it's powerful. I think it's brash. I think it's an obnoxious movie. I think it's a scary movie, and I think it's also a good movie. So, Brett, thank you for letting me put it on the list. I really believe in that film, and I really think it has a lot. I think it's a grower. It's a grower, Brett. It's gonna linger. It's lingering in our collective memory.
All right, so
it's doing gangbusters on VOD. People are interested in this movie.
Well, doing gangbusters in theaters is very successful.
That's right.
Okay, so then I think that puts
that you pick the next. You pick two. What do you want to do? I saw TV Glow.
I think I saw the TV Glow goes at 9
and First Omen 8.
I would love to get First Omen.
Let's get First Omen because it's a feature film. We already have Aggro Drift 1, so sorry, Kurosawa, that took the slot
That's
of
what I'm
the guy doing the crazy
thinking.
distribution thing.
Yes.
Chime's going to be on my list, so it's repped by our podcast. That's cool. But the joint show is saying that First Omen is our pick for the first half of the year as what we want to see out of horror moving forward. Because everybody can't handle Korean Kurosawa. Here's where I
think it's an exercise. It's not just the length, and it's really even not that it's an NFT thing. It's an exercise to me because out of all the Kurosawas I've seen, I think my only issue with it, I think he's asking the audience to do a little bit too much work. I think there is, because he's such a master of movie. And the other thing is I'm so on his side from the get-go because he's one of my favorite horror directors that I'm just I'm bought in early on. But speaking objectively, compared to his other movies, he's particularly kind of in the ending, in some of the in-between moments, I could have used one more little sort of thematic hint or beat here or there to I feel like he's asking us to bridge a longer divide than we normally have to bridge. And what I mean is he's patient. He doesn't sort of he's not spoon feeding you. Everything is based on sort of mood and camera and this and that, and a lot of there's some amazing horror on screen that comes out of nowhere and is really effective. A lot of the horror is off screen, and to me it felt particularly those moments where the character is seeing something and you're not seeing it, it felt to me like he's trying out some moves that he's then gonna deploy in his more passion projects. Whereas this to me is something where it's I need to do a 45-minute movie for NFT. That's a fun little exercise, and I can try a couple little moves that I can then sort of perfect in some of my the movies I've been working on for a longer period of time or have more investment in. And look, we're at the top of the mountain here.
Yeah.
We're at the top of the mountain. And look, this is a very slippery slope. I'm not talking about, I do not want to be spoon-fed in horror. I hate it, or in movies in general. This one to me, there's just he's asking a little bit too much from the audience. It has a literal
barrier to entry. You're afraid you put your credit card in the computer.
Sure.
But then you're saying the piece of film itself is also
particularly
difficult to get your head around.
The ending, I would have
I want
one more tiny step towards me in terms of what this movie means.
Brett is a trusted voice, and if you're a Brett guy, go with God. But if you're a Joe guy, you guys got to watch Chime.
What do you? I love Chime. You're going to see Chime
Brett
later on in
heads-
my
Brett
in my
heads,
awards.
They're too lazy to go and
I
watch
freaking
Chime.
love Chime.
But if you're Joe Head, you're going to want to watch Chime, my favorite horror movie of the year. No, but all jokes aside.
I love Chime. I bought the $600 rental. That's how much I love Chime. I did. I bought the cheapest one I could find. No, I loved. We are talking about the slightest little, and I also just like the other thing is like when like a mainstream franchise horror movie like does it, I really want to acknowledge that because there's nothing better.
I know.
And Arkasha Stevenson nails it. That shot after the night at the nightclub with her in bed and her hairs. Oh my God, the shots in this movie.
Look, and then there's the iconic shots of the devil's hand coming out of the vagina, and then there's the demon at the end where it's sort of like Rosemary's Baby is activated. You get to see the ceremony with the devil himself.
Yes,
all very good, all very fun. Happy to have it on the list. One of my favorite horror movies of the year.
Good. Okay. Good.
Wow. So here it is,
and
Brett.
that's a big look. That is, and first off the list is Chime. Chime is right at 11. All right, Chime is right at 11. I'm sorry I sabotaged Chime.
Don't be sorry.
We would have been so cool. But this is what you get. You get honesty. You get combined. It's
a good
Joe
decision.
and Brett's honesty combined together is like total honesty. It's like total honesty.
Pure honesty.
Chime would have made us look fucking cool.
Well, it's on my list. I look cool.
You look cool.
Yeah.
But you really, it's authentically on your list.
It's so scary.
It's authentically on your list.
And it's so well shot and it's so well acted. And I can still hear that one kitchen knife going into that guy's neck in my head. I haven't been able to get it out like a song stuck in my head. Amazing movie. Brilliantly shot, geniusly distributed.
Yes.
A story told appropriately. I don't think, as much as he certainly had fun with distribution, I don't think it was. I think he was probably looking to make a 45-minute movie. Who's going to finance it? Nobody. What's the fucking market for a 45-minute movie? Oh my God, what? A market for a 45-minute movie? Great. I really want to do this short film. I think it's valid. I think it's legit. I think it's absolutely terrifying movie. Incredibly well acted. But I'm proud of the list.
And we got Aggro Drift on here.
Come on.
Here is the top 10 movies of 2024 so far. Starting with 10, Alex Garland's Civil War. Number 9, Jane Schoenbrun's I Saw the TV Glow. Number 8, The First Omen, directed by Arkasha Stevenson. Number 7, George Miller's Furiosa, Mad Max saga. Man, now I'm committed to like saying the director each time.
I like that.
Number 6, Dev Patel's Monkey Man. Number 5, Ryusuke Hamaguchi's Evil Does Not Exist. Number 4, Annie Baker's directorial debut, Janet Planet.
2 debuts there, baby.
Number 3, Alice, what's the other debut?
Monkey Man.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Number 3, Alice Walker's La Chimera. Number 2,
Radu Jude.
Thank you, Radu Jude's Do Not Expect Too Much from the End of the World. And at number 1 with a bullet, Harmony Korine's Aggro Drift.
Yay! What a great list. Because you're going through it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah.
Great
oh,
list.
and then
Great
it hits like the action-y part of the list.
Great
like,
list.
oh, and then it
Great
ends
list.
with like some pop. Great list. Margaret, what do you think of the list? Margaret says yes with 2 thumbs up. Wow, we love that.
And Joe, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Particularly if we don't get a U.S. release of Kurosawa's Cloud this year, I'm revisiting Chime for the end of the year list. Okay, I will revisit Chime for the end of the year.
We're gonna re-rent it. What if the price goes up to $4?
Here's the thing. I have to you watch it like in the dark at night,
on
right?
Sunday. Well, I came in on Sunday and I watched it in Alone in the Building.
Yeah,
and then I watched it again on Monday.
I gotta do that.
I still had the rental for 3 days.
I watched it like in the morning.
You gotta put your cans on. You gotta put your headphones on because the sound design is like scary.
Sound design's amazing.
But you know what else
when the
was
sound
scary
like
as
cuts
shit?
out abruptly.
You know what was great is The First Omen. This is a beautiful day.
Yes,
this is all winners.
We got to
here.
make choices.
These are all winners.
Here. Okay, speaking of all winners, let's get into our actors, actresses, director awards. How about we just go back and forth? Tell me your top 5 and your winner, and little shouts out comment. Why, etc. Here we go. All right. So let's start with best actress.
All right. Do you want to go first or me?
Why don't you go first?
Best actress is the most stacked category for me. Like, I love all 5 of these nominees. My 5 nominees for best actress so far 2024 include 1, Léa Seydoux in The Beast.
Ooh,
we haven't talked
I
about
haven't seen The Beast.
We haven't talked about The Beast yet, but Léa Seydoux in this is so good. She plays somebody house sitting essentially, but it's sort of like a cloud atlas, but a grimy one with some Crimes of the Future-esque sort of stuff in there. It's like the best episode of Black Mirror you ever saw, and it's very, very good. But she is incredible in it. Duh, she's always great, but she's really good in The Beast. I have Alinka Monolake.
Hell yeah.
From the Do Not Expect Too Much from the End of the World. Fucking killer, cracking me up. I got Zoe Ziegler, the little girl in Janet Planet. That is one that since
Joe's cold dead heart has been melted. This guy hates child actors.
But not because they're not usually good at acting. Zoe Ziegler,
you did it, Zoe. You did the
impossible.
You did the impossible. You got a child actor on Joe's top actors list.
Amazing at acting. Yeah, not since Paper Moon has there been
a
young
job,
actor
Zoe.
on my list. Then I have Nell Tiger Free, the lead actor in First Omen. She is amazing in First Omen. And then I have Carol Duarte in La Quimera, who I put as best actress, not best supporting.
Amazing.
But we can talk about it. So that's Leia.
And who do you have? Who do you have
Zoe,
winning?
Nell, and Carol.
Who's in your top slot?
This is the most challenging of all the groups, but I would pick my best actress as Alinka Monolake in Do Not Expect Too Much from the End of the World, because that is like the, you know how like Hannah Horvath is emblematic of a whole decade, you know, in Girls.
Alinka is the moment. Alinka is the moment.
But like her,
Alinka's Andrew Tate's TikToks.
Alinka,
are the
like
moment.
she just totally captures the moment. She's a fucking star. She's so funny. Brilliant performance and is so much energy and such a driven performance. Fucking hilarious. Best actress.
Joe, we have a lot in common here.
Nice.
I will say out of the gate, I have Carol Duarte in my supporting actress category. I have let's see, I've got Nell Tiger Free from the first Omen. Had to. Incredible performance. Just gutsy. But also subtle. I mean, talk about the instrument. Her face just like carries that movie. Also have Zoe Ziegler in Janet Planet. I think it is one of the best, if not the best, performances by a child actor of all time. I mean, maybe, you know, not since Tatum O'Neal and Paper Moon. I'll say not since old Haley Joel Osment in The Sixth Sense. Have we seen a child actor give this level of a performance and drive the movie with their performance.
So good.
I also had, of course, Alinka Monolake from Do Not Expect Too Much at the End of the World. What else can we say? Go see this movie. This performance is just it's iconic. Ballsy punk comedic gold, but also so smart. It is just so good. And even has like a little bit, you know, as much of a sort of like punk dark comedy as it is, has some gravity in it from like some kind of like an emotional moments from here and there, like when, I mean, it's play as comedy, but when like the development company is like explaining very like patiently and reasonably to her why they have to like exhume her grandmother's corpse to move it because of a development, but the guy's like so nice and reasonable. This no movie better epitomizes like late stage capitalism meets social media meets the decay of Western civilization, quite like Do Not Expect Too Much from the End of the World. It's right there in the title. Do not expect too much from the end of the world. Then the two that I have that are different are I've got June Squibb and Thelma.
Wow.
I thought she was really, really good in a tricky role. The thing that I really liked is it's about an elderly woman who is getting to the end of her life, who gets like scammed by a phone scammer who scams like $10,000 out of her. But in this case, unlike poor Felicia Rashad in The Beekeeper, who immediately kills herself when she finds out the scam, June Squibb just goes on a fucking revenge mission. She's the beekeeper. She's the beekeeper. And like all her family are like trying to and her friends are like trying to talk her out of it. They're like, you're not up for this. She hijacks a scooter. What are the scooters called? Thank you. She hijacks a rascal scooter. She like steals a gun from her friend's house. I won't tell you what happens after that because then it gets like really wild and fun. But June Squibb goes on this revenge mission to get her freaking money back, but not even to get her money back, just to like prove that she's still got something left to live for, and I love it. And then I also have Adria Arjona from Hitman. Adria Arjona from Hitman, who I think is just so sexy and cool and fun in Hitman, and is the crucial like turning point in the movie that to me takes it into some really interesting territory in the second half of the movie. More of a straightforward sort of like really sort of almost like the Bonnie and Clyde sort of arc of the second half of the movie. She is crucial in doing that, and then changing the direction of Glenn Powell's character as well. And she does it effortlessly. She's a freaking movie star. My winner, though, Joe, we're aligned on this. It's got to be Alinka Monoloke. Just the performance of the year. And I read that she, on her own, does those like Andrew Tate TikToks. Like that wasn't for the movie. Like she does those. That was like her idea. She does those on her social media and like got incorporated into the movie. So that was like a character, or I don't know if she does the TikToks, but that's like a character that she does is like the Andrew Tate ripoff. And it's like the only way you can satirize an Andrew Tate, which is just like vicious and vile and no holds barred and no mercy.
She's
no
so funny.
mercy. It's so funny.
Her character does
so
that.
Funny.
And her character tells jokes like an old man the whole entire time.
Yes.
And at the end, in the 40-minute one shot during like the play we had talked about in that movie, her whole thing in that whole 40 minutes, she just comes in with her back to camera and she looks, upstage or away from the camera at the crew, and she tells this like long-winded, inappropriate joke, and it's just her back acting, and she's barely, she's just acting with her back thing. Oh my God, she's so fucking funny and good. And the back thing is off the charts.
Good.
All right,
so
good pick, Brett.
All right, so let's do actor. What do you got for actor?
Actor, I have some fun people some stuff we haven't hit on yet. I have Jesse Plemons in Kinds of Kindness. He made the movie for me. He solved the Yorgos riddle, and he went into that rigid space of the Yorgos frame, and he brought and breathed life into it with his 3 different characters. Amazing performance in Kinds of Kindness. I have Dev Patel in Monkey Man.
Hell yeah.
Because he earned it. Then 3 movies we haven't even talked about yet. The first actor I have is David Pereja in The Coffee Table, which I absolutely loved.
Oh, I keep hearing about this. I haven't watched it yet.
The Coffee Table is the most stressed out you've been since Uncut Gems, kind of put into a horror context. I won't spoil it. It is edge of your seat exciting. It was definitely on the short list for my top 10, one of my favorite horror movies of the year.
Can I watch that now? Is that out there?
Yes, you watch it right now.
Okay, all right. I gotta watch
it. It's on Amazon.
I gotta watch Coffee Table.
Oh, Coffee Table!
So many good movies this year.
Coffee Table is so
I didn't
so
fucking
good,
seen
y'all.
Coffee Table
and
yet.
David Pereja just lives through the entire movie, sort of in real time. He suffers the worst thing that could ever happen to you in this film, and then he just lives through it. So he's getting a nod. I loved that movie. Then I have Choi Min-sik in Eczema, which is a Korean horror movie that is amazing. Choi Min-sik, from Old Boy. He's the guy who plays the guy from Old Boy. Anyway, in this movie, he plays like I forget what they call it, like a biomancer or something. He picks the plots for the dead to be buried in Korea, and he also helps with exhuming those corpses so the spirits aren't disturbed. And guess what happens in this movie? They get in over their skis and they exhume something they shouldn't, and it is terrifying. It's like a great Asian exorcist sort of a plot where they have to do the spirit dances and a lot of those things you see in Korean and Asian sort of cinema around graves and stuff. But this movie does it so well. It's an amazing movie, but it's really grounded by a great Choi Min-sik performance. And then finally is going to be my winner, Brett. My winner for Best Actor, with well ahead of the other crew, and I love all those performances, is Nathan Stewart Jarrett in Femme.
I gotta see Femme.
Nathan Stewart Jarrett in Femme is incredible. Femme is a movie about a drag queen that suffers a terrible, terrible hate crime at the hands of this sort of like white, This Is England-esque ruffians in the UK, led by the pointy-faced guy from 1912, McKay. I forget his first name.
George McKay.
George McKay. He's in The Beast. He's in this movie.
He's in The Beast too?
Yeah, he plays Leia Seydoux.
McKay's booking.
He plays the opposite of Leia in The Beast. McKay plays this like tough, brash guy. Anyway, 3 years after this drag queen suffers this horrible tragedy, he's in a sauna and sees McKay freaking out, follows him, enters this incredibly illicit, incredibly toxic, incredibly revenge-driven relationship with him. And the tension is through the roof. The acting is incredible, and as good as McKay is, and I think he's better in this movie than in The Beast, this movie Femme, which is excellent, is all about Nathan Stewart Jarrett. Whoa, he can act. He plays the drag queen. He's trying to trap McKay in a secretly filming him to out him, and all of the things that Nathan Stewart Jarrett's character goes through is so like, you're just sitting there, just like the coffee table. You're just sitting there, like kind of holding your head, like, oh my God, what kind of danger is this? What kind of craziness is this? An amazing, heartfelt, deep performance. That is my best actor. Well in the lead, Brett. We'll definitely be seeing Nathan Stewart Jarrett's name at the end of the year, and if we're not, crime.
Amazing. I mean, are you listening to what we're saying? I haven't even seen Femme or The Coffee Table or Exhumed. Was the other one Exhumed? Eczema.
It's awesome.
There are so many good movies this year. So many good movies, and most of them are available to watch online right now. Your list of actors is so smart. Mine is like proudly kind of dumb. This was like out of all the categories, I
have one of those.
Honestly, dumb with this. Dumb and honest. I begrudgingly also have Jesse Plemons in Kinds of Kindness on my list. As much as I did not like that movie, and I'm really down on Yorgos right now, what can you say about his performance in this movie? It's so good. It is so vicious and nuanced. I love when Jesse Plemons gets vicious. He just is so smart about like, you know, rage and insecurity and like barely contained violence. He does all of that so well. And he's at his peak. This may be the best performance I've seen him give is in Kinds of Kindness across the three movies, the three parts of the movie. I also have Martin Lawrence in Bad Boys Ride or Die, baby.
That's respect.
You know, carries the movie. He is so funny and fearless in this movie. Fearless. He is just like bringing so much energy and enthusiasm to the performance. It's like we said at the time when we reviewed it, it's kind of a bizarre character. Like, it's a character who survives a brush with death and then like thinks maybe literally that he's invincible. Like it's like they take a fun, surreal kind of twist with the character in the movie, and Martin Lawrence goes at it 100%. I will never forget the shots of him when they have the shootout in the like art installation with all the candy everywhere, and there's just like gumballs and like fruit punch spilling, and he's trying to like eat because he can't like have sweets after his brush with death. And what was it, a heart attack, I guess? Yeah, right. So he can't have sweets. He's like on this like, and he's like fuck that, I'm shooting guns and eating M&Ms and drinking fruit, and it's like, and he goes 100. It's just such joyous, silly cinema, and he really, to me, without him, I think the movie is. And look, I mean, you've made a big case for Bad Boys 2. I love when Bad Boys goes just sort of like just dark and so violent and so like you know, you've talked about how Bad Boys 2 epitomizes that American moment post 9/11, but Bad Boys can also just be sort of joyous and silly and not, you know, be sort of as clouded by the darker. And I think Bad Boys 4 is more of that. It's more of like shootouts in like a gator preserve and in a candy themed art installation. And Martin Lawrence is like the key to the tone of the movie. And it's you know, honestly, besides the Lincoln monologue, probably my favorite comedic performance of the year. I had to get it in here somewhere, and this made the most sense for me. I've got Henry Cavill in the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Respect.
Just freaking movie star with a capital M, baby. Movie star. He is just like, he is so handsome and so charismatic, and he is also the thing that really put him over the edge is he's also like there's like some real violence in this movie. He's killing Nazis and he's having fun while he's doing it. Honestly, that one shot when he goes from, it's very like, there's some like Inglourious Bastards tonality to it where, like, you know, remember when Michael Fassbender is like planning the sort of the mission, and he's so like British and proper. Mm-hmm. Same with Cavill has that scene early on. Yes, where he's so like British and proper when he's planning the mission, and then cut to him just like bursting into a bunker, machine gunning Nazis, and he literally like wags his tongue. That shot when he like wags his tongue while he's shooting Nazis really like put him on this list. That got him the nomination. I have Joe's going to disagree with this, and I went back and forth, but
That's
I
all
think
right.
given the entire movie and the arc of the character, I've got Glenn Powell and Hitman on
good for
my
you.
top
No,
5.
you rep your
because
guy.
I really like what Glenn Powell's doing. I think he is good for movies. I think
Me
he
too.
brings an authentic love of cinema. I think he is navigating that thing where you are a like cinephile at heart in the body of just like the handsomest guy ever. And I think, and that's sometimes a tough thing to navigate. And I think he's navigating it very well. I think he's finding roles that allow him to do sort of best of both worlds. And I hope he continues to do that. Haven't seen Twisters yet. We'll see. But
I bet it's fun. I bet he's fun.
I bet it's fun. And
I hope it's fun. I hope he's fun.
Twisters, though, Hitman, I really, really liked what he did. I do think like the first 30 minutes I was a little because it's like Glenn Powell's SNL reel. But then like when the turn comes, when Adrian Arjona gets into the movie and he just gets to be like
Sexy man.
sexy and charismatic and dangerous, but then he's still like the nerdy professor underneath. It's kind of like the Glenn Powell story, like a nerdy philosophy professor hidden inside the body of this like charismatic sexy hitman. Like it's really, I think that's who Glenn Powell is. I think at heart, because he co-wrote the movie with Linkletter.
I do know that.
Like he's and I hope that Glenn continues to sprinkle in these projects as he continues to get the big presumably continues to get big
it
A-list.
Seems like Cruise is his mentor.
Yes.
And Tom Cruise is the best part of his career was when he was in his prime working with every auteur under
Magnolia,
the sun.
Eyes Wide
and
Shut.
Glenn Powell's just gonna, I hope he enters that mode and we
Yeah.
just see him in whatever, work with Ridley Scott and then go work with Kelly Riker and just be crazy and go work with everybody.
Yep. Now my winner, my best actor.
Yo. Who?
And this isn't dumb. I was playing a little fast and loose with this. I had a lot, but I'm being honest. And this hopefully because you're trying to take Chime for yourself because I didn't want it in the top 10 movies, okay? But I'm going to reclaim Chime as a shared movie.
You can't attack Chime and then reclaim it.
I'm reclaiming.
It's mine.
I did not attack it. I just had like little
copy number 77 is mine, or at least for today until the rental ends.
I have as my best actor so far of 2024 is Mutsuo Yoshioka in Chime. Mutsuo Yoshioka in Chime. He was, as much as I love Kurosawa, as much as I love Kurosawa's horror movies, this was the best part of Chime to me was this performance. He has to give you split personality, kind of, but then the split has to sort of gray. And this is over the course of 45 minutes.
Movie, yeah.
Like, at first, it's kind of a harsh split, and then he has to sort of blur the line, and the character has to sort of, like, the two sides of him has to sort of come together. Basically, very plainly put, like, the good side and the evil side. It's not as simple as that, but those sides have to then sort of blend. And then, to me, the scariest part of the movie is not the kills or the sort of obvious dread. The scariest part of the movie is these job interviews he keeps going on at this restaurant where he wants to be the head chef. And in these job interviews, he keeps doing these like insane 180s because it's like he's so eager for the job. It is like it's beyond cringy. It's scary. He's like, if I was like, can you imagine like being across the table, either like the person interviewing or the person the person who is offering the job? Can you imagine being across the table from a person like that at a job interview? I would be terrified.
Yeah, it's an amazing movie that you've called previously.
I'd be terrified.
An exercise. And now you're giving the guy best actor? I don't know. Joe heads are pissed.
Listen to my explanation. Listen to the words that actually come out of my mouth, and don't listen to agenda. Don't listen to agenda setting. Don't listen to agenda setting. Ask yourself who's being more honest. I think I've been very honest about Chime.
Honey, watch Femme and tell me I'm not honest.
I think
Nathan Stewart Jarrett.
That's a great pick. I can't wait to watch it. I'm sure it's great.
It's awesome.
I'm talking about the best part of Chime, which is Mitsuo Yoshioka.
I love the nom.
That's with all due respect to the master.
Me.
And I can't wait to see Cloud. I cannot wait to see Cloud. I hope it gets a 2024 U.S. release. I might have to fly to freaking Tokyo to see this thing.
Let's
go. Okay, so that is actor and actress. Now let's do supporting actress. Supporting actress, who you got?
I have 1, Isabella Rossellini in La Chimera. 2, Katie O'Brien in Love Lies Bleeding. I loved her.
Love that.
You know, when
Love
people
that.
start like, they're like, oh, she sung, so she gets an Academy Award. It's like, oh, Katie O'Brien like worked out. You get an Academy Award now. You look great. I have Adria Arjona as supporting actress. You know, just she was so fun. And so great and so funny in that movie. I loved it. And then I have 2 from Janet Planet. I gave noms to both Sophie Okonedo and Julianne Nicholson.
Great.
Both for Janet Planet. Because, you know, we spoke about Janet Planet last week. Just great theater people doing smart
Everybody
acting.
crushes.
Yeah.
Who's your winner out of that group?
My winner out of this group is going to be
I have a guess. I think I know who it is.
I'm going to go Julianne Nicholson and Janet Planet.
Okay. I thought it was going to be Isabella Rossellini.
No.
I thought it was going to be either of the two.
No. Yeah, it's honestly between her and Okonedo, who I really liked her part of Janet Planet, but just for holding down the fort and being the mysterious presence, it's the perfect supporting role. Also, like really amping up her scene partner in a lot of these scenes, Zoe Ziegler. Like you know, Nicholson's a part of why Ziegler's murdering.
Absolutely.
So she gets my best supporting actress win.
Now I really wanted to get Katie O'Brien in here. I could not. I could not conceive of her as supporting actress, though. To me, she's the lead of the movie.
I see what you mean, and see, like if I had Carol Duarte in supporting actress, she would win. Yeah, like running away with it. But since I didn't put her there, right? I go Julianne. I'd love to put Katie too, but I think Julianne.
I think the argument you can make is that because Kristen Stewart is by far the biggest movie star in the movie. I just in like screen time and story. Katie O'Brien feels like the lead, but like it's Kristen Stewart's in the movie, so she's almost the default lead, and she has a lot to do. She's
Katie O'Brien's sort of the one that comes into her Kristen Stewart's life.
That's right.
I guess that's why I put her supporting.
I get it. I buy that. I love Katie O'Brien in the movie.
Yeah, she's great.
I've got. Let's see what we have in common. I've got Sophie Okonedo from Janet Planet. Nice. I've got Isabella Rossellini from Lucky Mara. Yeah. I have Carol Duarte here. As supporting actress, because I just think I don't know. Some movies don't necessarily have a lead actor or a lead actress. You know, it's like to me, it's like Josh O'Connor's the lead of the movie and everyone else is supporting. Yeah. But this is up for debate, up for definition. So I've got Carol Duarte here. I think you're gonna like this. Okay. I cannot believe I did this.
What'd you do, crazy
man? From like growing up 2000s watching movies, one of my favorite actors was Jenna Malone, and we're in like a mini Jenna Malone assance right now. We are in a mini Jenna Malone assance. I don't know if people like I haven't seen anybody writing about this. Can somebody let's talk about the Jenna Malone assance, because she is given not one but two.
Good for you, Brett.
Not one but two of my favorite supporting performances this year. So I've got Jenna Malone for Love Lies Bleeding and Horizon and American Saga Chapter 1.
Yes!
She is bar none the best part of that movie. So I've got Jenna Malone for those two performances. And then last but not least, I could not find, I looked and looked and looked, I could not find a human to attribute this role to, so I'm just giving it to the computer simulation of elements. In my fifth, I have Bo's wife in Aggro Drift. I have the hitman's wife in Aggro Drift, and I am...
Good pick.
It is...
She wins.
Oh my God. It is like, what if, like, it is... The character is like supposed to like the I don't even know how to describe this if you haven't seen Aggro Drift. It's like structurally it's like a very classic sexist wife character. It's a character who is only defined by being the wife of the main character. But then the actual like specifics of the character is Harmony Korine takes like this like sexy stripper from like a Grand Theft Auto video game and makes that the stereotypical wife character, and it becomes this just hilarious mashup of like gamer 4chan guys like ideal woman is like someone who is like looks like a stripper in Grand Theft Auto but just like plays the like loyal devoted wife. But the reason this makes the list for me is like everything in Aggro Drift, it also transcends that like just sort of baseline satirical kind of stylization of the character. It's just it's like lovingly presented in a way, as crazy and surreal as the movie is. Like, I really believe that Bo and his wife have like true love and really are like committed to each other in this beautiful way. And it is just that character more than anything defines the movie for me. And again, I can't, like, the character is clearly some sort of like AI computer generated simulation of a character. There is some kind of voiceover. I could not find an attribution for the voiceover, so it might be an AI voiceover. I don't know. So I might be giving this award just to a computer, to AI. But I'm sorry. Every once in a while, in the hands of someone like Harmony Korine, like, AI does, there's some incredible things that can be done with AI. So there it is. I'm sorry. How dare you leave me? You know you fucking love it.
No, I looked for that actress because I wanted to put her on my list, but
Harmony Korine, tell us who voices Bo's wife in Aggro Drift.
So we can give her an Academy Award.
They give her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, okay? I don't like this because I went back and was reading a lot of reviews of Aggro Drift, and like the main critique, it's so lazy to me, but like there is like a real line of critique that the movie is just inherently sexist and misogynistic. Insane critique.
People are
insane. Use your brain.
As all
use your
get
brain.
out.
It's so lazy.
You think
it's so lazy.
Sexist? Is that what you think when you watch that? This is sexist
so
right
lazy.
Now?
It's so lazy.
Jeez Louise. Brett, I need to do something.
It's just such a mistake about like movies like being about something or presenting something, and then the movie like getting like you attribute what the movie is about to the like message. It's like use your fucking brain when you watch the movie.
Yeah, I can't right now, Brett, with this.
But I do feel like Harmony is putting me in this like hole where I sound sexist, just giving this award to like the computer generated wife character. So Harmony, please give me some specifics on who voiced this character so they can get the credit they deserve. All right.
I want to do a thing really quick. I'm just going to say it. Because I really want to honor Carol Duarte's performance because it was my favorite.
Sorry. And my winner. I didn't do my winner.
Oh, you didn't?
Carol Duarte. It's Carol Duarte for supporting actress. I got Carol Duarte as my winner. Okay, sorry if that messes up what you're about to do.
No, I could trade Audria for Carol, and then I could have Carol win because I feel really passionate about it in Best Supporting Actress.
I had Audrey Horne in Best Actress. I think
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm going to flip those two because I have her in Best Supporting, and I'm going to. Sorry, I'm doing a Moonlight with Julianne Nicholson, and I'm going to give the Movies Baby Academy Award to Carol Duarte. Sorry, it's a real. That's what I wanted to
Julianne
happen.
just gave that interview with Anywhere where she's talking about how disrespected she's been by the industry, and then you do this to her, you hand her the award, and then you take it away.
Yeah,
justice for Julianne Nicholson. Justice for Julianne
Nicholson.
You
didn't even nominate her. You nominated an AI stripper. All right, Best Supporting Actor. You nominated Harmony Korine, like
credit who
a fucking AI stripper. Actors all over the world are panicking because they're worried that they're going to get replaced. You nominated the AI stripper from Aggro Drift and then told me I was disrespecting Julianne Nicholson. Jesus.
But I didn't invite Julianne to the award ceremony and then have her come up and take the award and then rip it out of her hands.
It's better than letting AI be one of the 5 best women in the Best Supporting Actress category. Brett picked an AI bot. It's a big stripper that like just like she what do you call it, like twerks the whole entire time and just like fucks the guy and hugs the kids. And that piece of AI, that AI joke in the movie Aggro Drift, Brett thought was better than Sophie Okonedo, Katie O'Brien, Isabella Rossellini, and the not even nominated Julianne Nicholson. So, I don't feel bad.
How excited would you be if the Oscars they're cutting to the nominees and they just cut to?
I would love it.
Cut to Bo's wife.
When I was doing my due diligence, I did want to put her on my short list because I was like, who's that woman that was so fucking funny in Aggro Drift? But it's not a real person.
It must not be because it's literally not credited. I dug on the freaking Edgelord website and it's not credited.
We should just fly down to
Harmony.
Mar-a-Lago,
what is Bo's wife? Is it just pure computer generation?
Or is it like the funniest actress of the year? Like we don't know. Okay. Best supporting actor.
I need to know, Harmony. It's the one thing I would ask you if I could ask you.
Best supporting actor is my dumping ground, much like best.
This was the trickiest one. This was the hardest one.
So here's what I have for best supporting actor. 1, Chris Hemsworth in Furiosa. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna put words in your mouth and guess that you have Chris too, because we both said, "Now that's some Chris Hemsworth." We love.
Now that's my Chris.
Now that's some Chris Hemsworth. I have Big Dick Josh O'Connor in Challengers, Best Supporting Actor. I loved him. He was a slimy little hottie, and we love that.
Better than Lucky Marrow.
3, I got my man Jesse Plemons for his iconic 2 lines in Civil War.
What kind of American are you?
Yeah, it's iconic. He gets a nom. That's like my William Hurt. He says 3 lines in History of Violence, gets the nom and the win. Tom Hardy and the Bike Riders I wrote down. Then I crossed it out and I wrote Jeremy Irons in The Beekeeper.
Good for you. Good for you.
And then
Jeremy Irons in Beekeeper is a great pick. That's a great pick. I was trying to get some Beekeeper recognition in here. I couldn't
Jeremy
do
Irons
it
because he is the straight man to all the craziness, and he's just the guy the whole movie going like, "What have you done? You kicked the hive.
You activated a beekeeper."
So,
he has to carry the entire plot of the movie.
Jeremy Irons in The Beekeeper. And then 5th, not as disrespectful as Brett's giving it to AI, but I am giving my 5th slot to 2 cats, Nico and Schnitzel in A Quiet Place Day One. Great job, cats.
Okay. I like that. Oh, and those are real cats, because they were going to do AI for a second.
Nico and Schnitzel are real
because Lupita Nyong'o was afraid of cats, and they said we're not going to do AI cats. So Lupita, you have to take a class to make you less afraid of cats.
They got these 2 cats. Look, I hated that we made Anatomy of a Fall about the dog, but that's because of Anatomy of a Fall is like one of the great films of the decade.
Yeah.
A Quiet Place Day One, not one of the great films of the decade, so I'm happy to make it all about the 2 cute cats. They did a great job.
Also, does anyone who made A Quiet Place own a cat or ever been around a cat? Do you know how hard it would be to corral a cat during the end of the world?
That's why they're so good.
It is a dog cat.
That's why they're so good in the movie. So Nico and Schnitzel represent.
Yeah. I'd be like, if I tried to rescue my cat Francis from a construction site that's rife with monsters,
aliens.
A, she'd be yapping her head off. We'd get killed in a second. B, she would rip me to threads if I tried it. She would I don't know. Fine, but it is a dog cat. It's like a dog cat.
I thought they sold it. Congrats, Nico. My winner though.
Who's your winner?
For Best Supporting Actor for real. It's a weak category.
Toughest category.
It's a weak category. I'll man up and I'll give it to Josh O'Connor in Challengers.
Okay.
I don't know why though.
Yeah, think about it.
Because I kind of like Jesse Plemons more, but it was 2 seconds.
You said Jesse Plemons was a winner when we were reading it.
He's my William Hurt.
You already gave it to Jesse Plemons in Civil War.
I think that is my favorite though.
Yep, good. Be honest.
Fine.
All right, my Best Supporting Actor. I've got the only one. This is the only one I have in common with you. Is Chris Hemsworth in Furiosa.
Oh, that's so fun. Wait, you have 4
I
other
have 4
guys?
other guys.
I couldn't think. I had to put cats. That's how limited this was. Tell me.
Let's see what you think of
Waking
this.
me up.
First, I have Elias Koteas from Janet Planet. I thought he was
so funny.
Is it Will Patton?
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
Will Patton's
great too. Elias though is just it was funnier.
So
it was so it was. I gave it to Elias. I just liked that character better, and he's just doing what he does. It is smug, and also I liked the hints that clearly this is a guy who this is the classic hippie guy who probably blurs the lines of consent and power and things like that, and the way he starts building that into the nice hippie guy who just loves to listen.
That's a great pick. It's so funny.
It's a really, so that character is sort of Will Patton has to be a little more sort of on the surface sinister, as the first relationship of the cycle, and Elias gets to be a little bit more backdoor sinister, and I think he does it really well. I then have Vipin Sharma, who plays
the funny friend.
Not the funny friend. The funny friend's great. Vipin Sharma is the character's name Alpha? I have to look this up. I'm sorry.
No, take your time.
It's the the trans warrior.
The spiritual.
Yes, the Alpha. Yes, Alpha and Monkey Man, played by Vipin Sharma, which is the leader of these it's one of the political themes of the movie is that these trans people have to sort of go underground essentially because they are political enemies of the ruling class, like the church, the state, and kind of money. And Alpha is the leader of these like underground trans warriors that like train Monkey Man for his big vengeance tour.
That's a fun one.
And he just it's such a great character, and he nails the character. It's that perfect like there's nothing like maybe like sort of that would like knock your socks off about the performance, but it's just that like great character. He brings so much gravitas to it, and it like it's that turn that took Monkey Man to the next level for me, and so the performance gets credit for that.
He's like an Obi-Wan Kenobi figure.
Yes,
yes,
the
he's
Obi-Wan
a great
Kenobi
mentor
yes.
who's mysterious
yes.
but warm and badass.
Yes.
It's a great character.
That's it. So I've got to give it to him, and then what else do I got? Okay, so Vipin Sharma, and then I've got Ryuji Kosaka from Evil Does Not Exist. He plays the representative from the glamping company that comes in and then has the craziest arc of all. A character that you think has just been brought in for some sort of like satirical comic relief, and then gets this wild arc and nails it. And then last but not least, I've got Nicolas Cage and Longlegs, baby.
I love it.
Shout out to Longlegs.
I love your list. Wait, hold on now. Bang those out again one more time.
All right. My winner is Chris Hemsworth in Furiosa. And then I have Elias Koteas in Janet Planet, Vipin Sharma in Monkey Man, Ryuji Kosaka in Evil Does Not Exist, and Nick Cage in Longlegs.
I love that. I didn't go Longlegs because I just couldn't get it. Was too so fresh, and I wonder if tomorrow I'll feel differently. But I love the pick. I think you're gonna be right, Brett.
I'm not gonna give it away. You know what it was? It was the final shot of him, and I was like, "This is like just as a single cinematic moment is up there as one of my favorite cinematic moments of the whole."
That's like me and Plemons
year.
with the Civil War. Right.
Yes, exactly.
I like that. And then the reason I didn't give it to the guy in Evil Does Not Exist is he's like not an actor. Like, right, they're all like people. He acts and he's deserving of your award, but I don't know. There wasn't like enough meat there for me. Who was the second one you said? There was someone that I was jealous that you said. Not Monkey
Evil
Man.
Does Not Exist, maybe?
Nah. But you know who we neither.
Oh, Elias Koteas.
Elias Koteas. He really was great. Do you know who I thought you were going to say, but neither of us said?
Who?
Was the director in The Exorcism that we both were cracking up at? You know, like the guy who plays the
Adam
director.
Goldberg.
Adam Goldberg.
Oh, I didn't even think of Adam Goldberg.
Neither did I until we were talking.
Because the movie was such a dud, I didn't even think of him. But Adam Goldberg is
Goldberg's
fun.
really good.
That's fun.
Right, you reminded me of a lot of great supporting roles, but I'm still sticking with Nico and Schnitzel.
Okay.
All right,
last but not least, now really quick, Joe, because you are getting on a plane to frickin' Paris today. Is that true?
Yeah, to Toulouse, France.
Toulouse, France. Oh my God.
Yeah, what time is it?
It's we've got like 10-15 minutes here.
Okay, excellent.
Yes. So let's end with director, and then we'll kind of preview what's coming up on Movies Baby and the Patreon in the next week or so. So here we go with director. Okay. Why don't you knock out yours first?
You're not gonna like some of mine, or you'll be like, huh? Okay. But I've thought about this very much.
On here,
I thought about this very, 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 very hard. My 5 best directors. 1, Harmony Korine for Aggro Drift. Revolutionary. 2, Alistair Walker in La Chimera. Pleasant, gorgeous, smart. Alex Garland, Civil War. Ballsy, strange, terrifying. Luca Guadagnino for Challengers.
Oh, ouch.
He had a mental image, and he put it on the screen. And guess what? It looked hot.
People are gonna love that. I've been getting grief for my.
It is a great. It is a director just alphaing, saying my movie the whole time. I love that.
Fine.
And then last but not least, Radu Jude for Do Not Expect Too Much for the End of the World.
Yeah.
I mean,
great.
Talk about balls.
Those are mostly great picks.
Thank you very much.
Your boy Kevin didn't make it on there. Kevin Costner.
No, he did not. Although
you kind of turned your back on him after being so loyal to him for all these weeks.
I'm still very loyal.
You said, who else made a movie? Luca made a movie? Okay, we'll put Luca on here.
No, I just I don't need to defend myself. There's been a lot of great directors
That's
this
the
year.
Point of this show.
Good point. These 5 directors I picked because they had a strong, unique vision and then executed it to the nth degree exactly as they saw fit. One of the beautiful things about Horizon is he's tangling with such an unwieldy beast that sometimes he can't control it. And there's pockets of Horizon that are just shockingly like, what the heck? Horizon's a great project and it's filled of great moments, but Costner's not going to get. He's not better at directing than Alice Rohrwacher.
Right, you're coming back to Earth. You're coming back to Earth.
That's fucking
you're
crazy.
Coming back to Earth.
I'm living on Earth.
And
baby.
who's your director of the year?
My best director of the year so far has to be Harmony Korine. I'm sorry. I wish I could think of something more interesting, but when you change the game to the degree with which Harmony and Edgelord have changed the game, you need to be respected for that. I'm giving it to Harmony.
My top 5 of the year are Harmony Korine for Aggro Drift, Alice Rohrwacher for La Chimera, Ryosuke Hamaguchi for Evil Does Not Exist, Jane Schoenbrunn for I Saw the TV Glow, and Arkasha Stevenson for The First Omen, baby. I'm giving it to Alice Rohrwacher for La Chimera. I did not think
that's a good take, Brett.
I did not think that we would. I thought, it's just like I really felt like I was watching it's like we got a new Fellini or a new Truffaut, or it's like I was like, man, this is fucking awesome. But it doesn't bear the weight of those influences. It transcends them. It's a movie of now, of the moment, even as a period piece. It's just so funny, cool, smart, sexy, hip, and artistic and tasteful, baby. The taste is on display. Alice, you did it. You're my best director of the year. And that concludes our best of 2024 so far.
Wow.
We're only halfway through the year? What a great year of movies.
In theory,
despite all the duds and the frauds, we still had a great first half of 2024 at the cinema.
We're not even close to award season, Brett.
Yeah, we haven't even got the awards movies yet.
We'll see. We have 6 more months of incredible movies to watch. Cannot wait to see how 2024
All right,
shapes
now
up.
here's what's going on. We just gave you a big old supersized best of 2024 so far episode.
Yes, we did.
So Joe has got to go catch a plane to Toulouse, France, fancy pants. He's going to a wedding.
I think I want to go to a wedding in France.
I haven't had a vacation in fucking 5 years. This guy's going to the Jersey Shore. He's going to Toulouse, France.
For a wedding. I have to go.
So we are we're not gonna have a basement takes tonight because this guy literally has to go catch a plane. That's fine. You just got an incredible. We just bared our hearts and our souls for what was that, 2 hours probably for best of 2024.
Yeah,
so
2 hours.
I am sorry. So we're not gonna have a basement takes for you tonight.
No.
But and then we're gonna be off. We're taking a break next week because Joe will be in France. Also, we just need a week off. We didn't get one. Most of our shows got one for July 4th week. We did not. So we're good. There's a little and this is perfect though, because we're going to take off next week and then we're coming back. I think, Margo, can you pull up that next coming up next on next episode graphic? Yes.
Oh, we're back.
August 1st,
oh my
baby.
God, we're back.
August 1st, we are back doing Twisters and Deadpool and Wolverine and Basement Takes. August 1st, we will be back with some. Oh man. So look, here's what you do. We're taking next week off. You go watch these movies if you haven't seen these movies we've been talking about. And Joe and I caught up on a lot of them just this past week. So go watch some of these movies. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your top 10, top 5, whatever of the first half of 2024 is. Let's all get caught up on our movie watching. Then we're going to come back with a big old freaking megaplex episode on August 1st.
That'll be fun.
Deadpool and Wolverine and Twisters. But we're not leaving you hanging. We also have a new After Death VHS will be coming out in the next week or so. Sarah Freilich show. We got a new episode of that coming on the Patreon. We'll have
There's a new episode of Watch Along Wednesday on the Patreon.
There's a new episode of Watch Along Wednesday that just happened last night. Watched Venomous with Treat Williams. Had a lot of fun. So you can check that out. New After Death VHS coming up. So there's a lot of stuff, other bonus stuff that'll be coming out on the Patreon. So there's a lot of stuff coming out. But we are taking this little mini break. And of course, that's all available on patreon.com/moviesbaby with 5 Ys, patreon.com/moviesbaby with 5 Ys. So little mini break, but lots of fun stuff in the meantime, and time for you to catch up on your movies and let us know what you think of our picks. Let us know what your picks are. Reach out, follow us on all the socials, moviesbaby with 5 Ys. We can't wait to hear from you. We're in the middle of another great year at the movies.
An amazing year. Thank you for listening. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
Sure, keep doing
Give a writer
that.
a review.
Why not?
Never say that, but why not? Thank you very much for your support, everyone. And thank you, Margot Padilla, as always.
Thank you, Margot. And thank you for watching. And we'll see you on August 1st. Bye.